Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I'm talking to my good friend Emerson this episode, and we just started our conversation before we even hit record. So it just led right into what we were talking about once we started. So I need to catch you up a little bit. But I was buying some cryptocurrency earlier that day, and he started talking about his time working for Coinbase, the crypto buying app, one of them, I should say, and talking about they were moving their headquarters to Portland, and that's pretty much where we picked off. I think you'll like this episode. Thanks for checking it out.
What was it talking about? Oh yeah, so they wanted us to move to Portland, and like I wasn't gonna do that. My one friend Sammy, who I sent you that story, the family that carried their house on their back. Did you read that yet?
Not yet, no.
That's how I met her, and like she didn't want to move to Portland. The one guy I know who did, he was like, I wish I didn't do this, and then I think he moved back to New York or something. So, but yeah, what's going on in Portland? I mean, like like in the wake of all the like protests and riots last year, there's like a big like Antifa presence in Portland, and it's like there's a lot of like racial tension, and then it's like a lot of like super liberals, but then there's constantly like a protest or a riot going on. Like I was just looking at videos like from 3 days ago, and motherfuckers were like burning shit down. I'll have to send it to you. So
They didn't get the message that the rest of us is pretty much calmed down.
nah, bro, the whole world is turning up. I don't know if you saw the shit going down in India. Honestly, the media, like, you'll never see it on TV, but like, there's a lot of unrest in a lot of places in the world. It's not just the U.S. So I don't know.
I mean, they don't want us to
Um,
know that we could all rise up at the same time.
no, they don't want you to know that. But yeah, I don't know. That's annoying. It's probably gonna take you a while to get a support response because I'm sure they're completely overwhelmed. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
let me tell you what I was getting into besides all that is trying to learn how to stake rewards on some of these
Oh yeah.
currencies. And I learned for the first time what a fucking gas price is.
Oh, did you fuck up?
Dude,
Did you pay a shit ton of gas? You fucked up. Yeah.
I wasted like $100 today. And then
Yeah,
then I tried to just pull my money out and say fuck this, and there was a gas price to pull my money out. Like, dude, I got
bro. I
raped.
I did the same thing. I tried to stake Ethereum, like, because I know about mining and all the crypto basics. Cool, whatever. The DeFi shit is all new. Like, okay, so I don't know if I told you this. Did I tell you in 2019? My mom's a lawyer.
Yeah.
She's on the National Bar Association, which is like it's it's um it's basically like this national organization of like black lawyers. They all and they share info and whatever. In 2019, she asked me to come. I flew down to Florida and I spoke on a panel about cryptocurrency because they're, obviously in the future, like there's gonna be like crypto law and like shit like that. So they wanted someone who had some experience professionally. I had experience at Coinbase doing the security shit and then the Ethereum mining. So I spoke to them. Then last Friday I spoke again. So what, 2 years later, um, on a similar panel about crypto.
On Zoom.
And I was telling them, yeah, on Zoom. And I was telling them, like, in the 2 years since I've seen you all, the crypto space has changed insanely, right? Like, because when I spoke to them, not even just the prices, but when I spoke to them, Bitcoin was like 3K or whatever. And this lady was like, well, is it ever going to go back up to 17K? Should I buy? Should I not? I'm like, I can't tell you whether or not you should buy. I'm just telling you, you should pay attention to crypto. You should have some so that you understand what it is and how it works. But I'm not going to tell you you're going to get rich or whatever,
That's a
you
different
know?
type of panel.
Right. So the next year in 2020, I ran into that lady and she was like, "Oh, I bought Bitcoin because I listened to you and I lost a bunch of money, whatever." I'm like, "Don't sell it, just hold it." Now, fast forward another year, fucking 60K, whatever. So that's changed. But also there are things that exist now that didn't exist back then. I mean, like the whole have you seen the shit about NFTs?
No.
Like non-fungible tokens. Basically, like using the Ethereum blockchain, you can now mint an NFT, a non-fungible token, which is like artists are using it to say like, okay, like obviously the digital art space is hard because like you can't like digitally buy a print from me, right? Like because you would pay for something and then I would send you a JPEG, but it's like it's just a fucking JPEG. Like you could just copy it. You know what I'm saying? You could email it to anybody. It's not a thing that you can own. But what NFTs allow you to do is to mint a piece of art on the blockchain that then basically it's registered that you own it. And there's only one of these and only one of them can exist. So we've now figured out how to make digital items actually like non-fungible commodities. And that wasn't a thing like in 2019 when I talked to them, you know?
So
And now
what
go
does
look.
fungible mean? Like you can use it as money?
Yeah, yeah. So these are non-fungible, right? So like a dollar is fungible.
Right. Okay.
Like any currency is fungible. These are non-fungible. So they're like uniquely identified to you, basically. And again, this is my cursory understanding of it because it's all new shit. So that's a big thing. Go look the artist Beeple Crap. I think he sold one for like several million or something. Like, let me see. He sold an NFT for $69 million.
So it's an original piece of art that can't be replicated.
Basically. But it's all digital. It's, on the fucking Ethereum blockchain. So it's crazy, right? This is gonna fucking like the start of this article says until October, the most that Mike, which is his real name, had ever sold a print for was $100.
Oh my god.
Now he's selling shit for 69 million. You see what I'm saying? So that's new. That's completely fucking new. I couldn't have predicted that. Like who could have? The other thing that's new is DeFi, and I still don't understand all this DeFi shit. It's really confusing to me. I'm trying to learn it, but that was just kind of what I wanted to express to them, which is that like we're entering like this blockchain tech. It's not just about like let me buy a coin and hope the value goes up in the future. Like it's gonna cause us to completely rethink like almost everything about our world in terms of like Ethereum smart contracts, the Ethereum virtual machine, like with DeFi, bro, there could be a future where like you go and you get a mortgage, but you don't have to go to a bank. You just go to some fucking decentralized like crypto DeFi exchange, So like, I don't know. There's just a lot of shit going on, and a lot of it's really confusing. Like,
A lot of people are thinking of it just as an investment and not as a coin with like a use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's unfortunate because I just want to see like, I mean, you and I have this conversation every week, but I want to see our world get over money. Like in this concept of like, have you seen the that documentary, The Social Dilemma?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, it was pretty interesting. It's probably not going to tell you anything you don't know, but at the end, this guy was saying something that I say a lot, where he's like, we live in a world where a tree has more value when it's cut down and turned into like paper than it does when it's living, or a whale has more value dead than alive, which is crazy, right? Like that's insane. Like that Jimmy John's thing I sent you. It's like that's just fucking insane. And I think that it's unfortunate that like the crypto infatuation, everyone's infatuated with it because everyone's just fascinated about when they can get rich, But it's like we could do so much more with it. Example, I would like to see us have a future where where we have a direct democracy, where like every person is based on your sorry, I'm being inarticulate, based on your social, what's it called, your social security number. If you were assigned a unique ID that you could transact with your government, like from your smartphone. Like if you could just vote from your phone and the vote would go on the blockchain and therefore it couldn't be duplicated or hacked or, you know what I'm saying? Or any of the shit that we have concerns about voting, hacking and like people duplicate voting, all that shit. Put that on the blockchain. But no one's going to build that because you can't get rich building that. There's no money in building that. So it's like all of the blockchain applications are just, they're all about money. They're all financial. And that's a huge problem. Like even with things like running like a Bitcoin node or an Ethereum node, it's like, how do you incentivize, like miners get paid a reward, like the gas, those fees, they go to the miners because like running the network is so fucking expensive in terms of electricity. Like when we stopped mining Ethereum in 2017, it was for two fucking reasons. We had two miners. We were building a third, but dude, it was the middle of the summer after the price of everything crashed, it was more expensive for us to mine Ethereum. Like we were spending more in electricity than we were making in Ethereum.
Wow.
Now that Ethereum, if we had all kept it and all kept doing it, that Ethereum would be worth way more today, right? Because Ethereum's at like 20, 24, 22. But it's just like that's the big issue, is that all the incentives that get people interested in crypto are purely about like making money and getting rich. And I think that that's unfortunate. We have to figure out a way to run blockchains that isn't all based on like incentivizing people with money.
That's
Um,
everything, isn't it? I mean, even when they started making movies, this new form of art or whatever, and they're like, "Hold on, we could we could capitalize on this whole thing," and everything gets corrupted.
yeah, but I mean, it's the conversation me and you have. It's like how long are we gonna do this? You know, like fucking Einstein said in his Why Socialism essay. It's like he supports socialism because he thinks that's how we move humanity beyond the predatory phase of its development. It's like now humanity, I feel like we're like humans are clearly the apex predator. And we're so good at predation now that we have created forms of preying upon each other that aren't even lethal. You know? Like it just slowly saps your energy over time. So it's just like, how long are we, like the planet isn't that big. Like how long are we going to do this where we're all just competing against each other and it's all about money? It's like we have to be able to imagine something else. But
Until Elon Musk saves us all, I guess.
yeah, till we all go to fucking Mars and start using Dogecoin or whatever. But anyway, I'm fucking ranting.
Yeah, let's get into what I want to talk about is how COVID has impacted either your work life or your hobby life, your free time. Let's get into some of the stuff like that.
COVID hasn't impacted my work life at all. I've been working remotely since 2018. So like it's changed. I mean um social life, yeah, a bit. But you know, then I also moved. So that probably has affected it more. Um
You moved before COVID, you mean?
no, I moved during COVID. Yeah, I moved like during the whole COVID thing. So I don't know, man. My life is weird. It doesn't really
It's funny because I try to check in with my friends once in a while, and you're always the one who's like, I'm fine, like I'm chilling. You don't seem to be impacted by it at all.
like I don't know, man. It's weird. It's like I feel like I've lived like 1,000 lives. You know, like I had times in my life where I was like surrounded by all kinds of people and going to parties. You know what I'm saying? Like super social, like going to parties and shit and like whatever. And then there's times in my life where like I don't see anybody for like literally months, like or weeks or whatever. Like where the only time I even interact with someone is like a cashier at a store. But I don't know. I'm just along for the ride, you know? Like it's all like whatever happens, a nuke could land tomorrow. And I'll be like, damn, this is interesting. You know? Like, I don't know.
Just see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, concerts, you know, obviously those don't exist. I mean, it's like when I was talking to Tex, when I interviewed with him last year, it was a totally different world, you know? We were in the Rockstar office, no mask, talking to each other, coughing, whatever.
Coughing all up on each other.
Coughing all on each other. And now like you would never think that you would be encouraged to walk into a bank with a mask on, but hey, here we are. Like last year if I'd done that I'd be shot at. And now like
Do you think
so
any robberies have been enacted with the COVID mask? I haven't heard of it.
dude, I'm sure like COVID like the pandemic, like scammers get into it too. The ED like the fucking I don't know if you know about that, but there's like a huge like there's people who are like super into like scamming, like check fraud and like unemployment fraud and shit. Like the people are making a killing with like the COVID checks and like the unemployment bonuses and like the fact that you can wear a mask when you're like at a bank and like shit like that. People are like, there's criminals are taking advantage of that shit. It's crazy.
I know some people who, a lot of people were making more money laid off than they were on the job. Like, I don't really understand how they came up with everyone should get this blanket amount, even if you're still working or if you don't have kids or whatever. Like, I mean, I'm happy to take your money, but I didn't need it at any point.
I mean, they argued over it. Like they argued over it big time. You know, everyone's like, these people should get less, these people should get more, whatever, whatever. I don't know, man. It's all like the economy is kind of fucked. I'm kind of scared for what's going to happen in the next couple of years because inflation is going to hit us really hard, and then all this money's just been being handed out. Then you got the whole crypto thing. I don't know, man. The future is very uncertain, but
It's just along for the ride.
yeah, I'm just looking for that. But yeah, I mean, I guess the most way, other ways it's affected me, like can't go to like concerts. That was a big part of my life, and you can't flirt with random women on the street anymore. But other than that,
Yeah, well, I mean, you go to the gym now. You told me a couple times you want a plane and stuff, so I don't feel like it stopped you from doing what you had to do.
yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. Like, you got to live your life, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like once the cat's out of the bag, like, there's just gonna be more pandemics. Like, this has been like people have been warning about this for years. You know, like
I just heard something about a super bug that's immune to antibiotics or something like
yeah,
that.
because we overuse soaps and antibiotics, and we put antibiotics in the foods and in the fucking animals that we eat. Like, and I'm sure. I mean, in college, you took a bio class, right?
Don't be so sure. No, I didn't.
You didn't. I remember distinctly, and we did a bio class that was basically about like bacterial, um, I guess bacterial gene transfer and evolution. And bacteria have like multiple ways they can transfer genes to each other, but they can laterally transfer genes. Like a bacteria, again, I'm not a scientist, so my knowledge is rusty, but certain bacteria can actually take a portion of their DNA, which is contained in this ring, and just place it into another bacteria, and they can share beneficial genes with each other that way. So we did this experiment where you would treat a petri dish that had bacterial growth with different things that would kill bacteria, like either antibiotics or like Listerine or like hot sauce, whatever. And then after it kills a certain percentage of the bacterial population, the ones that still survive are resistant to that shit. So that's how they fucking breed, is that they just, whoever survives breeds with other bacteria that are resistant. And it's like, at some point, some superbug will be created that's resistant to literally everything that we throw at it, you know? And then at the same time, it's like the human gut biome, we're covered in bacteria. Your body's covered in bacteria. Your body's full of bacteria. You're a bacterial ecosystem, but science doesn't appreciate this. So it's just like antibiotics and everything, which is fucking people up in ways that we don't know, you know? But basically we're creating these superbugs over time with just like the overuse of these antibiotics. Again, I'm not a scientist, but when you understand the basics, it's like, it's pretty scary. So I don't know. Like tomorrow there could be a new COVID strain that's like resistant to whatever vaccine, you know, like who knows, or some other virus, who knows, you know? It's like the cat's out of the bag. Like I never thought there'd be a pandemic. Did you?
No, I mean, I never in a million years, but all the signs were there. I just, you think you're immortal when you're young, particularly, but I think everyone to a certain degree thinks nothing's going to happen to them until it does. But it sort of has made me realize that the things we all talk about, oh, one day I want to do this, one day I want to do that. It's like, nah, you need to fucking do that shit now. And
Yeah, shit is not promised.
I mean, that's what this right here is about. That I was like, I always want to do a podcast, and I had some weird thing where it's like, oh, I need to be in the room with the person, and that just limits it by fucking 90%. So like, why not get on the mics like everybody else is doing? It's just these silly limits that we put on ourselves, but it's time to take those off.
I think most human limitations are mental.
Oh yeah, it's all arbitrary and self-imposed.
Yeah, but so that's what's frustrating, right? With like the shit that you and I say about how like it could be so simple. Like the world could just be very different. The reason it's not is because we choose to have it be a certain way. It's like there's natural law, and then there's the world of humanity. And in the world of humanity, we make shit up. You know, people are just like, oh, that's just how the world is. It's like, no, we made it that way. You know, like the fact that you need money for everything, or that like we made it that way. So people are like, oh, it'd be impossible to like end all war or like end hunger or whatever. But it's only impossible because you say it is. And the example I give is like the Wright brothers. If these, you know how many people tried to make a plane before them and died? if they had just given up and listened and be like, oh, it's impossible, then people would never fly because no one has ever flown before. But those crazy motherfuckers are like, nah, we're gonna figure this shit out, and that's what they did. It's like with humans, you envision something, and then you bring that into the world and you create it, and that changes the world. But so many people limit themselves. Like once you limit your imagination, that's when you've limited your possibilities of what you can do. No one ever achieved anything by telling themselves that it was impossible to achieve. But I don't know. People don't appreciate that. I think. Sorry, I'm getting off topic.
No, it's like the innovators are always the ones who seem insane. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Steve Jobs said that people don't know that they need the iPhone until I show them that they do. They didn't know it fucking existed, and now everybody has one of those fucking things.
Now we're Do you see the thing about the little helicopter they flew on Mars?
No, tell me.
They launched a new Mars rover, right?
No, I did not know this.
Well, I think it was yesterday that the rover had like a little helicopter, like a rotocopter, like a remote control drone on it, and they flew it. Like,
so they're delivering packages to Mars now.
Yeah, I mean they got this. Go look at it, man. It's pretty awesome. Like they landed a new rover, and I don't know. We're making history every day. It's pretty fucking crazy.
So would you sign up for like to fucking civilize Mars?
No, I wouldn't. Not. I wouldn't be on the first wave. Like if they send some people over and they made it, and like they were there for a bit, then I'd be like, okay, like maybe I'll go next. But I wouldn't be like the first like wave. That would just be stupid. Would you?
No, definitely not.
Never?
I wouldn't want to, like you said, I wouldn't want to be the bones that they fucking sift through to figure out what happened. But I don't know. It's a thought experiment. Like if you can guarantee that it fucking worked, I would go and leave everything behind. But when it's the unknown and all of that stuff, I don't think I would sign up for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like there's enough work to be done here. Like, not that we shouldn't be trying to go to Mars, because we should, but I would want to be part of like a breakaway civilization and like I told you, like take that shit over. That'd be cool. But
well, like Mutiny the Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Establish myself as Lord Emperor or whatever. That would be lit.
So we talked about you weren't affected by your job so much, but how do you spend your time when you can't really go outside and go to concerts and do these things?
I mean, I write. I did like 10 pages of Red Wake yesterday. Yeah, which we have to talk about that too. It's not a big thing, but it's just something I want to kick around with you.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I make art. I go outside. I spend a lot of time just sitting outside. Like, I feel like a lot of people are fucked up because they never go outside. They're always like looking at a screen or like doing something. Like, you shouldn't just have to be doing something all the time. So sometimes I just sit outside and I just look at the trees and like, it's nice outside. It's really nice. What else do I do? I work out, obviously. I work. I read a lot. Most of the same shit. I would be having more sex, but I'm like basically an incel right now. So
I think I've read more than I have in my entire life.
Really? Yeah, you've been reading a lot.
I read The Dark Tower Part 1. I read that in fucking 2 days, and then the next day I read The Shawshank Redemption. Like, I'm just burning through shit.
So Dark Tower is good? Because you were saying at the beginning you didn't like it, but
well, I'm saying it starts a little rough, and then I looked like online to see if it was gonna when it was gonna get better. And some people say the whole first book is sort of set up for the series, but I don't think that's true. I think the first 50 pages or so are a little rough, and after that, I'm already hooked. But my thing is, I'm reading all of Stephen King in order, so I still have another like 5 books to read before I can get to the second one. You know what I mean?
You're doing it in like his bibliographic order?
Yeah.
Cool.
Even his what's it called when you write under a different name? Even all those.
What is it? Nom de plume. Nom de plume.
I think there's an English way to say it too.
Your pseudonym or
Pseudonym.
whatever.
Yeah, 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 there you go.
Yeah.
Richard Bachman is his.
Why did he write under a pseudonym?
He wanted to know if he was talented or if it was just his name and his career that was taking off.
Oh, interesting. So is he?
Oh, he's definitely fucking talented, man.
Yeah. I get what you were saying about how people like. I've
They
never heard anyone diss King,
they just
but
underrate him,
some people.
even though he's so big, you can't imagine how big he is. He's still underrated.
Yeah, I think once you get to a certain point, like, and you become a household name, it's just like I don't even know. Like that's probably part of why I've never like certain things get so popular that like I feel averse to them simply because of like how many normies are telling me like, you know what I mean?
But that's
Which is
like that's like Game of Thrones and that's
yeah.
Breaking Bad. I mean,
Yes, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good reason to not check something out. So I've never read any Stephen King, but I definitely should.
oh, I mean, I'll give you recommendations for sure.
You've given me. I have like a copy of The Stand that you gave me.
Oh, The Stand. That's probably. I was wondering where my copy went. I'm glad you have it.
You gave it to me. It's in this. I had this big ass bin full of books back there, but
And that's only like the third book he wrote, but it's the first book I read by him, and I was maybe fucking 21 years old, and that's when I said I'm gonna read them all in order. And
how old was he when he started? Like what? Like the first Dark Tower was the Dark Tower the first one?
yes, what do you mean the first book or the first in that series?
The first like thing that he wrote. Like what was the first major thing that he published?
Well, Carrie was the first thing that he published, but he had various short stories that later were assembled into a book that predated Carrie, as far as I know. But
So how old was he when he published Carrie?
he was in his 20s. I believe he was teaching English in like a grade school level, and he quit that job. But he was writing since he was a teenager. There's this character in The Stand who's modeled after Stephen King, and he's this writer who every time he gets a rejection letter for one of the stories that he sends out, he like pins it to the wall with this big black nail, and eventually he gets so many rejection letters that the nail's pulled out of the wall just by the weight of it, and he just keeps going. That was a real story from Stephen King. He put that into the
Damn.
book. Yeah, so you got to respect that, man.
Yeah. No, for real though. I have this obsession with like how old was X person when they did why, and it's probably not healthy, but it's
You know
interesting
what?
to me.
It's good at a certain age to think that way, but then when you pass the certain age, then it starts to become a bad way to think. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's expiring when you're young, and then it starts to be a little more, you know.
Honestly, I think you just gotta do your work. It's interesting to know, but at the end of the day, you just gotta do your work. Like whenever, just fucking do it. I just watched. Have you seen that movie, The Founder?
The McDonald's movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that shit.
yeah, I liked it too. I really like what's his name? What the fuck is his name?
Michael
What the
Keaton.
hell? Michael Keaton. Yeah. But that motherfucker was like 52 when he started that. He was like a milkshake machine salesman, like
And he
So,
just yoinked that whole business. He's like, this shit's mine now. This whole legacy.
but that just really goes to show you, like, don't ever like give up. I feel like people act like you get to a certain age, especially with, I think it's worse with like our generation and like social media and shit, because you're always looking at these other people, especially when you have like, you're looking at like some YouTuber or some rapper and they're like 23 and they got $1 million and you're like, shit, I'm fucking 28 and I live with my mom or whatever. Like, people get depressed about that, but I think like you just got to keep trying and like doing whatever you do. Like, it's like you said about the podcast, like just do the shit. Don't stop thinking about it and talking about it. Just do it.
Just do it. And I'm gonna start like posting the shit too. Like our Warzone videos, the amount of time I spend editing those versus the amount of time I spend promoting them, and they get like 3 views, which is me, you, and CJ. Like I gotta figure that out a little bit more too.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. I really do think that like in some ways the internet has placed unrealistic expectations. It's like I like you because you're not really one of those people, but there's this attitude now that like things aren't worth doing unless you're either making money or getting famous from it.
Yeah, fuck
It's
that.
like, yeah, it's like the thing should have its own like I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like the work itself is the reward. That should be the reason.
Inherent
And
value.
Yeah, that's the inherent value. And now people don't see it that way. It's always just like, oh, how much money did you make? Or like whatever, whatever. And then at the same time, like one thing I hate, like this is why I hate Instagram, and I don't like post regularly, is because this the whole expectation of like content. I gotta make content. I gotta like when you see an artist get on Instagram like, sorry guys, I didn't post anything this week because I had to like, bro, live your fucking life. Like like Monet would fucking go and like disappear for 3 years and like make a whole series of paintings and then destroy them because he thought they weren't good. Like, not that you should destroy your art, but just like whatever happened to people like taking the actual time to actually make something that meant something. Now it's like everything exists for an algorithm and a subscribe button. Like it should go like every week new content. Like what? Like why are we just ravenously devouring content? Like we should sit with things, we should make things that I don't know. I feel like I'm I'm ranting. Do you feel me at all? Like
Yeah, well, I want to say two things. First, I saw an Instagram story today. Someone was like walking in the woods, like holding the phone and just filming themselves, like going for a walk. Like, just put it down. Like,
just put the damn phone down.
your fans don't need to see that. But the other thing I want to say is, you said just go outside, like just look at a tree, just appreciate shit. And I think for the first time in my life, and we can get into the why of it, but I don't feel like obsessed with video games right now for the first time in my entire life. Like usually it's what's next, like roll credits, what's next, you know what I mean?
Were you like that?
I was always playing something to some degree, always. Whereas like you and CJ, I feel like if you're excited about something, you'll play it, and then you may not be playing something until you're excited about something again. But I'm always burning through some sort of game in my back catalog or whatever. And sometimes I feel guilty, like, oh, I haven't played it in a couple weeks or whatever. And oh my gosh.
Well, that's got to be a deeper rooted like thing, right? Like, are you trying to distract yourself from something, or is that just like how you consume video games?
I think it's just how I consume it. I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV and stuff, so I guess I might be spending a similar amount of time like on entertainment. It's just more. It was more highly focused on games, maybe. And I assume that it's some sort of growth that I'm not doing it now, but it might also just because games aren't really coming out right now because of the pandemic.
Yeah, or maybe you're just fucking like sick of them, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Because I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe you're sick that's the conversation we had when we were talking about Game Pass and shit, and I was trying to tell you like, not like you were trying to say like more people should play more games, and I was trying to say like not everyone approaches gaming that way. Like for me, man, every console I'll buy maybe like 5 games and I'll play the shit out of them and I'll have a really good time, but I'm not like trying to like I don't know. I don't really like need to play like every damn game that comes out. I have
Yeah,
like my two, and I'll have like one story game, and it'll fill me up, and like I'm good. Like that's whatever.
I also think I've seen behind the curtain a little bit. Like you've taken screenplay classes, and then you sort of learn where they say like basically every story follows the same structure, or like they'll say these things, and it like blows your mind. You're like, fuck, I don't want to know that. You know what I
Nah, that
mean?
shit's bullshit. I think that shit's bullshit.
Well, I'm
Like,
just saying to the degree that like I'm finally realizing that games in general, except for your like Red Deads and your like Mass Effects or whatever, the games that really stand out, that most of the storylines in games are just pretty much trash in comparison
oh yeah,
to
yeah,
books and movies, and like that's something that I haven't really allowed myself to realize before.
yeah. But then you got to think, because we had this discussion too, where one time you were saying like, what were you saying? You were saying like most TV is trash, and I was saying like most of anything is trash.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's very true.
think about most of the novels that exist. They're probably fucking dime store, like Walgreens novels. Where the guy's got his fucking shirt off, like it's for your mom to like masturbate to. Like most TV probably trash. Most video games probably ass. Most paintings that have ever been made are probably terrible. Like it's
that's
just
that's true.
it's
It's
just
it's just
yeah.
math. It's just math.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So
but yeah,
I
no,
think it's good progress for me.
yeah, man. I mean, there's this game. They actually asked me about this in the Rockstar interview. They're like, "What have you been playing?" And I was like, "Really, only two things: Warzone and Red Dead. That's just really all I'm playing right now." And then they were like, "What are you looking forward to playing?" And there's this game called Humankind that's coming out. Um, it might have come out today, bro. When's this shit coming out? Oh no, it's coming out in August. Never mind. I guess they pushed it back. But yeah, it looks like Civ. I think some of the devs from Civ might be on it. And it really does look like Civ, so I want to try it out. Maybe we'll play it together because then we'd be both learning a new game instead of you coming into a new one.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I know Ashley wants to play it too. It looks really dope.
August.
So yeah, it says August. They pushed it back.
PC game.
Yeah, I think it's on PC and Mac. Yeah, Windows, Mac, and Stadia. I don't understand what Stadia is, but
It's the failed console that soon won't be around anymore.
dude, the dude who interviewed me said he uses Stadia.
Really? It's just like a streaming box, but I don't understand why otherwise PC only game would be on that. Because it's controller, as I understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Can you use like what do you play Stadia on? Your phone?
I think it's any screen. It's like an app. You know.
One day, dude, in the future, that's probably just gonna be how shit is. Like we won't have consoles or computers or anything. It'll just be like a screen connected to like a supercomputer or whatever. You know what I mean? Because like they're all just computers.
Yeah,
Like, that's
I
all they are.
I look forward to that. I just don't think we're there now. Like, and I saw someone doing a joke where they were pretending they were using like a Kindle, like one of the black and white Kindles, the Paperlight, to stream like fucking Skyrim or something. And I know it was fake, but yeah, like
Yeah.
Microsoft is really trying that, where they have an app where you can stream your games even when you're far from home and even when you're not on Wi-Fi or whatever. But I'm sure it's just a laggy piece of shit right now. Maybe 10 years from now.
I mean, I did it with Red Dead on my phone, and it was like there's some lag. So if you're playing something competitive like COD or something, I wouldn't do that. But if we were doing Divinity, it would be amazing.
But where did you do it? Like down the hall in the bathroom, or like
Yeah,
down the street in the park? Like it's
yeah,
pretty good.
nah, yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, that's why they're trying to roll out 5G because apparently 5G we're gonna have like apparently the download speeds are insane. It's like exponential. It's like 5 gigs per second or some crazy shit. I just made that up, so don't quote me. But like that's why they want to roll out the 5G because then like that'll lead us into a new era of technology, especially when you combine that with like VR, AR, blockchain. It'd be pretty crazy.
Hopefully, it's worth the cancer.
Yeah, dude. I think that's unfortunate, which is like we have no idea what all these fucking Wi-Fi signals and devices are doing to us. Like, there's no way to know because you can't even create like a control population that isn't affected by them, because we're all just surrounded by invisible waves all the time.
I think there is some town somewhere where there's no cell phones. There's not even a microwave. Like it's where people who are really like negatively reacted to waves and technology and shit go because
Yeah.
their skin will just break out and they'll just have headaches and be uncomfortable. So they go to this one fucking town where you're not allowed to have anything in it.
Really? Like Saul's brother from, from Better Call Saul?
Yeah, those people. Exactly.
Have you seen all that yet?
I think I'm waiting for a new season on Netflix.
I've only seen like the first 4 and I didn't like it, but everyone keeps telling me it's way better than Breaking Bad, which I can't even comprehend how that could be possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's better than Breaking Bad, but I think it is it's high quality. I mean, if you don't like it by season 4, maybe it's not for you, but I think it's really good. Not better than Breaking Bad.
I don't like it because he's not Saul yet. Like I just started it and I just find him annoying. I don't know. It's just all annoying to me, but I should continue with it. I don't know, man. I have trouble like I don't really watch a lot of stuff because I'm like writing shit, and then I have this weird mix of like A, I don't want shit to leak into my process, but B, I just feel this envy. Like I can't even half the time I can't tolerate watching some shit because all I can think about is how I would do it differently or how I want to do my shit. So that's been a problem.
Yeah, that would make it tough to enjoy anything.
Yeah, I've watched a few films I enjoyed though. Fucking Godzilla versus Kong was pretty entertaining.
You saw that in a theater?
Yeah, I was glad I did too. But
what was that experience like?
Dude, going to the theaters during COVID is awesome. And like, I understand people are afraid. I guess like I'm kind of cavalier with COVID because like I have a healthy immune system. I don't live with anyone. I don't have any, so I'm not putting like my kid at risk or like any, like my parents or anything. It's just me, So plus I think I've had the virus twice anyway. But if you can go to a theater during COVID, you should, because no one's there. It's fucking awesome. Like, you just have the theater to yourself. It's great. It's amazing. Like, and I think that's the best part of the theater going experience, because whatever ruins the theater for me is people talking, people kicking my chair, or, the constant fear that you have to have in America that some psycho is just going to walk in and start shooting at a captive audience. So
Yeah.
to me, not having people is amazing. You should definitely go. You haven't been to the theater at all during COVID?
No, well, it's interesting because I listened to 3 hours of Quentin Tarantino and Edgar Wright talking about how the theater experience adds so much to a movie, where you can hear the audience like gasp or laugh, or just the whole riding the waves of emotion in the theater, and how they love that. And it's funny to hear you say that you hate other people being in your theater experience.
I mean, like, I guess I get that, but I was going to say that maybe they're speaking as directors, but I kind of aspire to be a director in some capacity in the future.
Well,
But I don't.
I think, to be fair, they're talking about a captive, like, movie loving audience who goes to like a historic theater to not necessarily see the new movie, but just a screening of a movie, maybe a classic movie. Whereas you're thinking of the general public going on a Friday night to see whatever's new.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like the classic, and there's just a lot of fuck shit that used to come with going to the movie theater. Like, a motherfucker would ruin the movie for me because their kid is kicking my chair, or like some lady won't shut the hell up, or like that shit. I hate that shit. But yeah, I can get what they're saying.
Yeah, like I would love to go to people with like reverential viewership of a movie where everyone is really into it and excited. I would love that.
Wait, I have something to say about that, but let me just check. Are you actually recording? Because one time I remember you were trying to record like our divinity session and you weren't recording anything.
I'm recording, yeah.
Okay.
I am definitely recording.
Because I know your heart would break. Like, that would be discouraging as fuck. We sat here for like 3 hours and you just had. um, Dude, have you ever been in a movie and people started clapping?
Uh, Not so much. I've been on airplanes where people clap.
Bro, I can only remember this happening one time, and I'm gonna stand up because I'm sitting down. But I can only remember this happening one time. It was in fucking. Do you remember the King Kong movie, the one with Jack Black?
I didn't see that, but I know of it.
You never saw that? How did you not see that? That movie was like.
I love Jack Black.
I hate Jack Black. He was the worst part of that movie. But so I'm not gonna say I hate him because maybe one day I want to work with him. I don't know. His face annoys me.
I'm gonna use that audio clip to ruin your career with Jack Black.
But in that movie, there's like this fight scene where King Kong like kills a T. It's like a V-Rex. It's called a V-Rex. It's like a T-Rex basically. But it's this whole sequence. You should watch that movie, bro. It's a good movie. And he like kills it by like ripping its mouth open like this. And he's like, oh! And everybody in the theater stood up and started clapping. Like, it was insane. I've never seen anything like that in a movie before. People were fucking cheering. Like, so it was pretty cool.
So that's got to feel good as a director, man. If you're sitting in the back row watching that.
People were fucking clapping. Now, people clapping when the plane lands, that's some white people shit, dog. Like, what the hell is that? Like, clapping? Maybe if there's a lot of turbulence. I don't know.
There's always a point where
Why would I clap?
There's a point when I hit turbulence and my stomach falls, and I'm like, well, this is it.
Dude, turbulence is fucking scary.
Yeah. It definitely is. So
But yeah, I mean, that's the amazing thing about being human, right? It's like you're just flying through the damn air like it's nothing. Like, you pay $70 to get on a Spirit flight, and like you just go fly through the air. Like, that's insane.
It's funny, like we take things for granted. Like, I could look at my window, there's 1,000 cars driving by. We just take all that shit for granted.
It's magical. It really is magical. Like, I mean, the fact that I'm talking to you right now, shit, 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Like,
my grandmother says she used to look up and be like, "What are those? What are those things in the sky? They're planes." You know what I mean?
Seriously? That's crazy, man. Yeah, dude, my tenant is 90. She just turned 90. I'm just like, damn. That means she was born in 1931. And now she has an iPhone.
She's seen some shit.
She's like, how do I pay my gas bill? Like, It's crazy.
Man,
Can you imagine? Like when we're 90, bro? Like,
I think we're gonna be in retirement homes playing video games and just listening to music from our time. But
bro, who knows what we'll be doing?
they'll strap us
Like,
into VR and it'll be like we're young again.
or we'll have halted aging by then, you know?
I'm gonna be so jealous of the people who like 10 years younger than us or 20 years younger than us when they halt aging and we're stuck as like permanently 60-year-olds.
Yeah. But then shit in 60 years, it'll probably be like Ghost in the Shell. Have you seen Ghost in the Shell?
I saw the anime movie, which is amazing. The show I couldn't quite get into when I recently tried to watch it, but the movie is a classic.
The show's good. I think you got to give it some time. But yeah, the movie's classic. But yeah, I mean, we might have some shit like that where you just like 3D print or like genomically make or like have a cyborg body and then you just upload your consciousness into it, you know, like some post gender, post even biology world where like consciousness is totally transferable or whatever. Who
That's
knows? I mean,
that sort of leads me into something that I've been wanted to talk to you about. Is one of the major releases during COVID being Cyberpunk,
cyberpunk, yeah.
and I've never gotten the review from you of Cyberpunk.
Dude, I was talking to Tex about cyberpunk too in the interview today. Like, we went off on a tangent. Like, cyberpunk, okay, like, I was like, I was really hyped for it because
Because you love The Witcher.
I love The Witcher. I love sci-fi. I love the cyberpunk genre, of which William Gibson is the father, right? I've told you about Neuromancer, and like, you know, I think that shit's brilliant. And I was just excited to have a new like sandbox game to play around in. And when it launched, I went to LA and I was hanging out with Ashley and we played through it. And we played through most of the game together. So it was fun like playing it with someone. And I was having a lot of fun at first. I think like the skill tree they made is really fun. The combat's fun. The city is huge and it's beautiful, but it really does seem like it could have needed like 2 more years of development. I almost feel like they spent so much time and money actually making the city because it's so vast. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, okay, a comparably large game, I would say, is like GTA or something. But when you're in GTA, right, you know that most of the buildings, they're just like empty cardboard boxes, right? You can't go inside of them. They don't have rendered interiors or like everything's just on street level. Like there's one level and it's just the street. In Cyberpunk, like the city, Night City, actually feels like a real city in terms of like it's not just one level. Like things like they flow into each other. I don't even know how to describe it to you. If you just run around on the map, you'll see it. Like the
So there's
parkour, like
elevation and
yeah, there's different elevations. The buildings, like a lot of times they're locked off, like you can't go into this room or whatever, but they do have modeled interiors. Like all of the buildings seem to actually contain like real space. So it seems like they spent like however long, it seems like they almost spent the whole development cycle creating that, which I can understand how long it would take you to make that. And then they ran out of time to populate it with anything. So it's like every food stand you go to, they serve the same food. Like
you muted yourself.
oh shit.
I can hear you now. Now I can't hear you. Now I can.
What about now? Okay. So what the hell? Hold on a second. Don't switch. Okay, you can hear me okay? So there's a quest. There's a bar called Afterlife. And at Afterlife, they serve drinks that are named after people who were like big street figures, you know, and then died or whatever. So like, you know, Johnny Silverhand died, so you can get a Johnny Silverhand drink, whatever. So over the course of the game, one of your friends dies, and you go to the bar, and the bartender, who's also another character who's met the guy who died, asks you like how you are, whatever. And you tell her your friend died, and she's like, "Oh, what was his name? What was his drink?" And you tell her his name and his drink. And the bartender says, "Okay, well the next one's on me." And then that dialogue scene ends, and then you can go like there's a selection that's like, "Can I get a drink?" So I select it, and it just opens a menu for me to buy stuff from the bartender. None of the things she sells are drinks. It's all the same food items that every other vendor sells. And I can't even get the drink that she just said she would make for me, named after my friend. I can't even order a drink. I can't even order the drink that she just told me I could order. Like, that is kind of beyond the point of playing an RPG. Like, in an RPG, you want to feel like you're changing the world or something, right? Like, you exist in the world to some capacity. But in this game, it's just like nothing you do even fucking matters. And I beat the whole game. I think I got the worst ending. I'm not even going to tell you what it was, but it ended and I was literally like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is that real? Like, are you serious right now? So it's just like, there's so many opportunities to like add some detail to the world that were missed, that it doesn't even make sense. Okay, let me give you another example. You can't get a haircut.
What?
Like, you pick your character's appearance, you can't change it at all after that. This is a game, Matt. It's a game about cyberpunk dystopia technology. You're seeing people with all kinds of cool modifications walk around. People have purple hands and extra arms, you know what I'm saying? And like faces. Like, let me find you. Hold on. Okay. Search, are you at your computer?
Yeah, I got my phone right here.
Okay, so Google Maelstrom Cyberpunk. There's this gang of guys, and like in their gang, they're like obsessed with body mods, but as part of their like gang's aesthetic, because the different gangs have different aesthetics, these guys will like take out entire portions of their face and replace it with like this horrific looking. It's really scary looking. It looks messed up. Do you see it?
Shit, yeah. That's
crazy.
Right.
So in a world where people are modifying their faces like this, which is really cool, whoever came up with this, you're a genius. It looks awesome. Like, but I can't even get a haircut. I can't modify anything about my character's appearance. All the cyberware, there's no cosmetic cyberware. It's all like stuff that like modifies like your stats or whatever. And there's some cool shit, right? Like, my character has like a second heart. So like if I die, I'll immediately respawn. Like, I'll immediately come back because she has another heart. It's fucking awesome, right? But you can't do anything cool cosmetically. You can't even change your hair. You can't get a tattoo. Like, if I play The Witcher, Geralt can get a fucking haircut. You know what I'm saying?
In a world
like,
where you're supposed to be able to change every aspect of yourself, you can't change your hair. That's a little crazy.
You can't customize the cars. Like, your character's like apartment, there's like nothing unique to them. It's just like, it's almost like you don't matter. It's like you don't exist. And, you know, I could get it if like that's what they were going for. Like, because, you know, Night City's so huge, nobody really matters, and like that's kind of thematically like a part of storylines. But it's just like there's so many areas where they just didn't put any more detail or any like opportunity to role play. And after, I don't know how many hours I played it, I should look at my playtime, but I played the shit out of it. I just started to realize how hollow it is, you know.
Yeah, that's so I don't know. That's the word that came to mind when you were describing it. It sounds pretty hollow.
It's hollow. There's a lot of, it has this veneer, and it co-ops the cyberpunk aesthetic, but I don't think it does a good job of like, the cyberpunk genre to me is supposed to evoke something for you as a human being. What the hell? I just tried to open Cyberpunk so I could see my playtime, and it says there's a 40.3 gigabyte update.
Yeah,
so I wonder.
I think they fixed a lot of the I mean, because you haven't been talking about bugs and game breaking shit.
Bugs, I'm not even gonna get onto, because like, you know, there's bug, like that would be redundant for me to even talk about that. I'm trying to look past even the bug as it's presented, as it works, is disappointing. That's not even talking about the numerous bugs I've encountered. Like, I sent you the one where I can't get out of the water.
You go in the water and
like,
you're just
I sent you that
forever. Yeah. So what,
the ledge is this big.
You just had to reload your save.
Yeah, I had to reload the whole game. Like, like, you know, there's shit like that, which is egregious. And I'm giving them slack. I didn't even get on them about that. And it's just like, you haven't played The Witcher 3 yet, have you?
No.
Bro, you first of all play that game. But second of all, that game is so incredible. It's so well made. The detail, like the way that the quest lines branch out, the choices that you have, even the most minor quests feels like an entire story arc that someone wrote. Like in The Witcher, like even like you can come across a town that's like infested with monsters, and you kill all the monsters, and you come back later and there's like people living there. So you're like seeing this effect you're having on the world. there's one main story like at the beginning of like Act 1 that can drastically change the way like one of the areas behaves towards you, like depending on what you do. So I don't understand how the studio that's capable of making that game did this shit. Like it's clear, it was just clearly rushed as fuck and is disappointing.
Well, how about the
Um,
writing at least? Did they get the quest writing and the characterization right or anything like that?
I think that the the voice acting and like the acting, the voice acting, all that stuff is incredible. The facial animations are really good. But the actual storylines, like the way that they're written, is not memorable at all, bro. I couldn't tell you like any RPG. You could ask me about any RPG I've ever played, and I could tell you one quest that stands out for me. None of the quests in this game stand out at all. I can barely remember anything that I did because it didn't matter at all in the slightest. So, or even small. Here's my biggest pet peeve: is like when you're playing Red Dead, there's different animations for different like attacks that are contextual. Like if I have a shotgun and I'm moving towards you and I pull the trigger, that's going to be different than if I'm moving away from you and I pull the trigger. If I, you know what I'm saying? In Cyberpunk, I was doing like a stealth like hacking build, and so when you come up behind someone and you're in stealth, you can do a takedown. You can do a lethal takedown or a non-lethal takedown. So if I'm doing a lethal takedown, I would expect that like the weapon I have would be involved somehow. But no, like my character played with katanas and knives. So I have a katana out. I go up behind the guy. I do lethal takedown. I would expect to like stab him or like cut his throat, right? No, you put your sword away. You break their neck. Every lethal takedown, you just break their neck. Break their neck. After 40 hours of just breaking necks, bro, it's just like what? Like you guys couldn't animate anything else? Like there's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's just weird oversights that I don't understand.
That doesn't seem like something that 40 gigs could fix.
And so that's what I'm saying. It's like I can't imagine what they could put in here that I don't know. Maybe I'll have to give another chance. But
Yeah, are you interested in reading the patch notes or watching a video about what's new or just trying it
I
for
would like
yourself?
I would like to watch the patch notes because I want to know like because I saw some on Twitter. The guy was like, "Oh, we think we can update the game and people will still play it." I have no reason to ever play that game again. There are 10-year-old games that I could go back and play again and find a reason to play them. You know, like Hitman or something. Like I can't imagine why I would want to play this game. I want to know what the other endings are, but I would rather just go on YouTube and watch it and find out because it's I don't know, man. It was just hollow. So it was sad. Like I wasn't even mad. Like when I played. Okay, let me tell you what type of gamer I am. When I get a game that's big enough, I feel like sometimes I still owe the devs money. Like I bought 2 copies of Red Dead. I bought 2 copies of Skyrim. I bought 2 copies of Oblivion. I have 3 copies of GTA.
Just
I have
to
2
give them
copies
more
of
money.
The Witcher. Not kind of, but also just like I have a digital copy, I have a physical copy.
Oh, okay,
You know,
okay, that makes sense.
or like I have a physical copy, I have a digital copy, and then I bought a copy for somebody else because I wanted to play this game so much. With Cyberpunk, I feel like I want my money back, or I don't know. Like I played The Witcher, and I felt like I still owed them money. You know what I mean? I told everybody about the game. I got more people to play it. Like I spread the word. With Cyberpunk, it's like I don't know why you would ever play it because you're just the more invested you get into it, the more disappointed you're gonna ultimately be. And again, there's things I like about it, like the combat's cool. Here's what I really like about it: the hacking, like the netrunner shit is really cool. Like because you're in combat and you're fighting, so you're shooting at a guy, but at the same time you're hacking people who are over there and over there. So you really feel like you're some badass mercenary like netrunner because Maeve. I did like. Wait, have you seen Westworld
Season 1.
season 1? Okay, season 2, like one of the characters learns to like hack, but she can also fight. So she's like hacking the other hosts while she's fighting, and that's what I felt like because I'm fighting and I'm hacking and it's in slow mo. It was just that shit is really cool. Like I got a hack where like my character's so OP now, it's not even fun to play. Like I can literally just walk into a room and defeat a boss without even raising my fists. Like I can just walk in and hack them and click suicide, and they'll just put the gun in their mouth and pull the trigger, and then like I win the quest. Like, why should I keep playing the game? You know what I mean?
I think it's rare that a game allows you to get that fucking powerful.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, like, so there's stuff I like, but overall, it's just like I don't understand why. I mean, I guess it's got to be their publisher. Who is their publisher? I thought they were
CD Projekt Red.
Okay, so then I don't know why they rushed the game. Like, I could understand if there was like the studio and then a publisher telling them to like rush, put it out. But
Yeah,
it seems like,
I don't understand because I mean, I'm not a fucking businessman or whatever, but you could ruin your reputation so much that you're losing more money in the long run than you are waiting 6 months or whatever to fix your
which is
product.
which is what I think that they did, man. I think if they had even taken another year and just fucking kept working on it, like it would be a lot better. And I just, as a gamer, it's like there's so many things that were disappointing. Like, I don't understand how someone in that studio could sit there and play that game and not realize some of the things that needed to be changed. Like, just in terms of video game standards of what we expect from a game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it.
Did it
So
have like a very long development time and maybe some of these things were more acceptable back when they started it?
I'm pretty sure it's been in development for like 9 years, right?
Yeah, that's sort of a tough issue when the whole technology changes or even a console generation changes or whatever. Maybe they probably should have just canceled it for PS4 and Xbox One and made it a next gen game.
Dude, I don't know, man. I really don't think there's any excuses because, like, even 10 years ago, what was the big RPG? Skyrim. Like, I don't know. I guess Skyrim's kind of a different game. It's more of a sandbox. It's intended to be modded, but I don't know. I just don't understand how, as a developer, you could not see the glaring issues with this game. It was disappointing. But I had fun, and I was playing it with someone else. We were laughing at it, and so.
So, do you feel? I mean, certainly about like a Cyberpunk 2, do you feel like you're not in? But even does that extend to a Witcher 4?
Yeah, I mean, right? Like, I guess I don't trust them now. Like, I would buy it, right? Like, if they're like Witcher 4, like, okay, I love The Witcher. Like, I'm in. I don't know. I would give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, it's not like they like bait and it's not like they were like, all right, we're gonna fucking like it's not like they tried to steal your money or like they lied. They just I guess they fucked up. They just made a series of mistakes. So they're like Witcher 4. I would buy it for sure. But
But Cyberpunk 2?
yeah, I would probably buy it, but I'd be apprehensive, right? Like, why wouldn't I be? And apparently, they're going to release an online mode that's like a whole like separate thing. So I want to see what that's going to be. But I played The Witcher 2, and that game had a lot of flaws, but it was a good game. Like overall, it was fun. Did you played that, right?
I didn't finish it, but yeah, I played 5-10 hours of it and I like it.
It was kind of clunky, and like some things are confusing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So The Witcher 3 is an improvement in every way, shape, and form. Plus, it's a truly open world game, and it seems like they learned a lot from their mistakes. So,
Well, look at The Witcher 1. It's awful. It looks hideous. It just and then to The Witcher 2 to The Witcher 3. So maybe we ought to give them some leeway for Cyberpunk 1 and to Cyberpunk 2.
I just don't know how when they shot themselves in the foot. Like who's gonna trust them now? Who's gonna want to give them money for that type of shit?
Sad.
But again, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know what goes on. Hopefully, I will be soon part of a game development team. But yeah, that game was definitely a disappointment for sure. Like, I can't. I wouldn't tell you to go play it. You know what I mean? I would not tell you to go play it.
If it ever gets on sale for like $12, I'm curious enough to pick that up.
I'm sure you could find a copy that some person is selling for like cheap. And I got the Cyberpunk Xbox because I was so hyped, and like I just love the whole Cyberpunk thing, and it was disappointing, man. And ultimately, that's my criticism: is that I think in an RPG, really in any video game, you want to feel like the story you went through, all the things you did, like changed the world somehow or like made a difference. And in this game, it's like nothing you do matters, like at all, seemingly. I also kind of think they might have been better off like looking at all the promotional stuff they released and like the Night City wires. I don't know if you were into that stuff. They would release like a new like video every couple of months, be like, this is Night City, whatever. I think they might have been better off casting someone else as Johnny Silverhand instead of Keanu.
I hate Keanu.
Keanu? No. I love Keanu, bro. I think he's great, and I think he did a great job. But I think that what they did was I think somewhere in that process, they just started leaning on the fact that Keanu's in our game. Keanu's in our game.
That's what I
Keanu's
mean.
in our game.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, so it's like they put this weight of carrying the emotionality in the story on Keanu, which I think detracts from, because what they want you to feel, because the whole storyline is about, and this isn't a spoiler, but it's basically about how like Keanu or Johnny is his consciousness is taking over your body, and so you're in the struggle between like him having control. So it's like you're a co-protagonist with Johnny, which is cool. But I just feel like they lean too much on the fact that it's Keanu. They should have just gotten somebody that nobody knew or something, and just left there to be room for you to feel something instead of just being like, it's Keanu, it's Keanu. Look how cool Keanu is, you know?
Right. I misspoke when I said I hate him, but it's like when he comes out on stage and everyone's cheering and then it's memed for fucking 2 months afterwards. Like I don't think it's that big of a fucking deal, and I think it's detracting from what should be the focus. You know what I mean? And I also don't think he's a fucking good actor. I think he's sort of a space cadet.
I think he's good in the movies, like the types of movies he's in, you know? Like you know what I mean? Like
Have you seen him in Dracula?
Dracula, this is what?
He's got this line. He's still doing his like Southern California accent, but he's acting in Dracula. Let me hold this up to the mic. Hopefully this comes through.
Oh, is this a 1992? What? I've never seen this before.
This is one of the worst performances I've ever seen in my life. Hold on 1 second.
I've never seen this before.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
And your future with this firm is assured.
Yes, sir. I will give it my full attention. I'll write. I have offended you with my ignorance, Count.
I've seen many strange things already. Bloody wolves chasing me through some blue inferno. No. I know where the bastard sleeps. I brought him there. To Carfax Abbey. Bloody wolves chasing me through some blue inferno. Bloody wolves chasing me through some blue inferno. Blue inferno. Blue inferno.
What the fuck?
Blue Inferno.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I saw a movie with him in it called I don't watch rom-coms, but for some reason I wound up watching this, called Destination Wedding. Have you seen that?
No.
I actually really liked it. It was a good movie. Watch that shit.
Watch a rom-com with Keanu Reeves. Okay.
It was good. It was good for real. But yeah, I just think like that was unfortunate. And you know, that's a bigger problem too in like media. Sometimes I think star power actually detracts from the role. Like sometimes I just want to see like in Red Wake, bro, I don't want like, unless it's a cameo, I don't want any fucking huge famous people.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely takes away, because they used to literally do that. Like, oh, we need a hero. Like, let's get fucking Cary Grant or whatever the fuck person. Like, we associate him with, everybody likes him already, and he just brings so much to the role. It's like, nah, bitch. Like, I wrote a unique character. I don't want to bring anything to the fucking role. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know. So
I want to make stars. You know, I don't want to hire stars. I want to make stars.
Exactly. So they shouldn't have done that shit. So it's just a series of questionable decisions that were being made, and I don't really understand why.
Have you been playing anything else?
No, man, just Warzone and Red Dead. We've been smoking the ops in Red Dead. I'm part of this SOS group.
You mean in Warzone?
No, I mean in Red Dead.
Oh, okay. You've been smoking ops there too? Shit.
Yeah, bro, I love Red Dead. Like, because I remember, I'm like a super fanboy of Red Dead. Like, I have been since Red Dead Redemption came out, like, however the fuck long ago, like more than 10 years. Jesus. When did that shit come out? 2008? And I remember playing that and being like, damn, I wish I could play this online. And there was an online mode in it. Yeah, that game came out 2010, so it's been 11 years.
Wow.
This game's been out, and Red Dead as a sequel is everything you could want. Like, it's really an incredible game and has a ton of replay value, not just in the story mode, but like online. But I'm part of this SOS group, so like if you're playing online and you're getting griefed by players or like you're getting your ass kicked, they'll ping it and be like, "Yo, SOS, SOS, I need help." But we'll just go in and like have a fucking huge gang war, and like it's crazy too because like some of the people I play with are like my age. But it's also cool because some of them are from other countries. Like I play with people who from France, like they're speaking French in the chat. And it's also interesting. Like there's some like high school kids that I play with, and like these kids like take some of this shit seriously. Like they have like actual beef, like with other crews online, and it's like on site. Like they have like standing like orders to shoot on site. Like they'll chase each other like through lobbies. Like we'll have a fight and we'll win, and the people we're beefing with will leave, and then somebody will go on Xbox, like look at that person's gamer tag, and then join their session, and then invite everybody else back in to continue the beef. Like,
yeah, that's what
it's crazy.
It's lobby based. It's not like one giant world. So I was gonna ask how they could have beef. So that's crazy to hear.
It's crazy. They have like entire crews, like and like I don't know. I just think it's really cool that like this is where gaming is now. I don't play GTA Online because it's just it's a lot of shit. I want to go back and try it since it's been like 7 years. So it came out in 2013, right?
We were in college, man.
Yeah, when we were in college. So there's a lot of content they've added that we've never even seen. So if you want to explore that one day, I want to.
I want to do the heists and shit like that. Definitely.
Yeah. But in Red Dead, I enjoy the the slowness of it and how it being a historical setting. There's no cars or jets or anything, so everything's a bit more practical. Like the limits on how many guns you can carry, and even the gunplay to me is more skill based and realistic. So the game just has a lot of like replay value, and they also keep adding pretty cool things. Like I think Rockstar's fan base is kind of unfair to them because they'll be like, "You need to update the game. You don't update the game," but they do update the game, and they put good shit in it. Like there was this girl I was telling her like play Red Dead, so she started playing the story mode, and she was upset because, and this is kind of dumb, I know, but she's a vegetarian, and there's a mission where like they send you out to like go hunt. You probably played this mission as Arthur, and they're like go hunt for deer for the crew or whatever. She's like, I don't want to have to shoot a deer in a game, like skin it. Like
CJ's like that too. CJ like to kill animals in games.
All right, fine. Like okay, I get it, but it's cool because online they added roles. So you can be like a trader, a bounty hunter, you can be a collector, and then they've added a naturalist role. So the game used to like the only interactions you could have with animals was really like either observing them or like shooting them and skinning them and selling them. But now there's a character in the game who gets upset if you kill animals. So now they added like a sedative round. There's like a new camera. There's like all these quests that revolve around trying to sedate animals and study them and take samples of them without killing them, and you actually do get punished for killing them. But then there's another guy who will buy animal furs from you and make special items out of them. So you kind of have to choose like, which one you want to do. And I think that's really cool. That gives you like a diversity of play styles. If you don't want to shoot deer, you can like study them or frolic with them or whatever. Like you're picking herbs and like running around. I think that's really cool.
But then you go and rob a bank or murder somebody right after that.
Yeah. That's what's funny about that game. My character has low honor because she's just a murderer and like a psycho. But then like I'll feed my horse. I'm like really kind to my horse and your honor goes up. Like I'm like a psycho murderer, but I'm nice to animals, so I'm like a decent person. But yeah, I don't know, man. That game is really fun. Has a lot of replay value. So yeah, I've been playing that, and then Warzone, obviously.
So how do you communicate with your French friends in the game?
The French people speak English.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, they speak English too, but they'll speak to each other in French. Because I'm on the game at weird times because, I don't have a normal schedule. So I guess in France, it's like nighttime. They're all on, and then I'm on. Yeah, it's cool, man. I met some cool people like through the game. I think, does PlayStation have a looking for group system?
I think PS5 might. I don't think the PS4 does. I'm not the one to ask because I don't like strangers online.
I like gaming with strangers. I think that's one thing gaming is really good at doing is like putting you in a situation where you can like meet new people. But
I just
yeah,
think
the
I,
looking
I just think I've had bad experiences, maybe even like 10-year-old bad experiences that I haven't re-examined, but just of people fucking spewing hatred and vitriol and fucking epithets and everything like that, and I've tried to stay away from it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just have a thick skin. I mean, you know, number of times I've been called the N word on like various online platforms is a lot, but I don't really fucking care. I think gaming has kind of matured now more, you know? Like I remember like when I mean, don't you remember when it was a big deal that girls played video games or whatever? And now it's like that's not like like everyone plays video games now. And I feel like Xbox has matured. Xbox used to have a reputation for being cancerous. Now, for me, it's just kind of COD. COD is the only place I find that type of like toxicity. Although, did I tell you about how I got banned?
No.
I got temporarily banned from using comms on Xbox Live because we were beefing with some guys in Red Dead, and they were trolling and like sending all these really annoying messages. And I called one of them a pussy, which apparently you can't do anymore. And he reported me, and they literally banned me from comms on Xbox. It was like I wasn't allowed to talk on the mic or send messages. And then on Xbox, like Xbox must be, because I didn't know this was a thing. So I went to like contest the report.
Yeah.
Because they were griefing me, I wasn't the one being the aggressor. They were trying to bait me into like doing something or saying something. So I go to like contest the report, and Xbox will make you write like an essay. Like it was my first offense ever. I've never been banned or anything. So they were like, "Oh, it's your first offense. We'll shorten your sentence if you like explain to us that you understand what you did wrong." So I had to like write this little essay explaining like
What'd you say?
why I did what I did. I was being really salty. I was like, I probably shouldn't have said the P word, but they were all being assholes and blah blah blah. And then like they commuted my sentence. Like a couple hours later, they're like, okay, and like they let me back on the mic and all this shit. But they have a system in place for like punishing people who are like being toxic.
So they believe in rehabilitation.
They do believe in
our prison system could learn a lot from them.
Yeah, dude, it was funny. I was mad too because like I was playing at the time and it cut my mic off. Like I couldn't talk or anything. Like,
did that affect us playing Warzone at all?
No, I got it settled up like by the end of the day. It was a Red Dead thing.
Because that was fly.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think like, because you gotta think, bro. Think about when all this gaming shit started, dog. I remember when I first got an Xbox. I remember like Halo. You remember like Combat Evolved? I remember being at school and some of the girls overhearing us talking about how we were playing Halo together. And the girls were like, "You guys had a sleepover last night?" We're like, "No, you can play over the internet. It's called Xbox Live." You know what I mean? Like, I remember when that shit was new. So you got to think like Xbox has this reputation for like, oh, it's so toxic. It's like, who was playing that shit? A bunch of 13-year-old kids calling each other the F word. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where
true.
That came from.
Very
it's
true.
kind of like what you were saying about to CJ about how it's not really impressive that the PS5 sold the most copies, because it's like gaming now, like you would expect every console generation to sell more than the previous one, because there are more gamers, more of them are being born, and gaming is becoming more mainstream, So it's like you said, it's not like that impressive. But this whole like image that people have of like Xbox being toxic and like gaming being toxic, I mean, a lot of it comes from it being a new form, and people were so fucking immature when we were using it. Like we were the customer for that shit. It wasn't some 40-year-old guy playing Xbox. It was us. And now we're almost 30, and there's a new generation of kids who are growing up with a different set of standards of how they, interact with each other. So I don't know.
That's true. I mean, maybe I should reevaluate this and not be so against turning my mic on when I'm not with the crew that I already know.
I met some cool people, man, like through gaming. I definitely have. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Xbox has a looking for group feature. So you can go, it's actually really robust. You can go, you can post and you can write a description. You can say what you're looking for a specific game. You can schedule the time. You can say how many players you're looking for, and then they have tags that you can use, like competitive, adults only, mic required, like will help new players, like all those sorts of things. And like, so now we're at an age where you don't even have to have your boys are on. Like, even if no one's on, you can still go and find somebody to play with, which I think is really cool too.
No, that's awesome. Do you do that from the app or from the Xbox screen? Like, how do you do it?
You can do it from the Xbox guide. If you if you hover over a game and click start, and then go to official club. Like, I like what they've done with Xbox. It's like a whole social network. So you can like you can share your clips, like you can like and comment on other people's stuff, like all through, not just through the app, but on the Xbox. If you click on the game, go to official club, then go to multiplayer. Like right now, there's 171 posts, people looking for other players. Like people do role plays. Like this one says new Austin role play. This one says the Scarlet Raiders gang is recruiting, PvP and money making. Join if you're tired of playing alone. Ages 13 through 40. You know, this one just says smoking and doing bounties. Be chill. This one says gang role play. Please have mic. You know, so I don't know. It's really cool.
That's really cool. That warms my heart, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think
this one says gang role play 13 and under. You know, so I just think it's cool.
13 and under. That is cool. I don't want to generalize because maybe PlayStation has that too, but I think Xbox was focused on those sorts of features, like quality of life and community and stuff like that. And PlayStation was all just like games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, didn't you say PlayStation sees itself as more of like the single player, like exclusive game console or something?
I don't remember saying that or not, but it sounds pretty true now that I hear you say it.
I've never owned a PlayStation, so I really don't know. But I've always it's always just seemed like Xbox Live was more like active and lit than PlayStation Network was.
For a while, they didn't even charge for PlayStation Network because I think it was pretty basic. And then I don't know when that changed, but yeah, you could just hop into it, whatever game you were playing, whereas you had to pay for Xbox Live at the time.
Let me ask you a question. How do you what's your favorite game controller ever?
360 probably.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, but I have never, like, if you put something like an N64 controller in my hands, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I can't do anything with this. But I've never been someone who really thinks that PlayStation and Xbox are all that different, to be honest. And I've always owned both consoles, if that gives some context to it. But I never thought it was that pronounced, the difference.
Dude, for me, the controller, like, I think Xbox has a perfect controller. Xbox One, or what is this now? I don't even know what the hell. But this controller,
Xbox One,
this is the best controller to ever be created. For real. This controller is amazing. Like, it feels so good in the hand. And my revulsion to PlayStation has always been with the controller. I never liked the way the controller felt in my hand.
Well, that's an
GameCube.
An Elite controller you're holding?
Yeah, this is Elite Series 2. The first Elite was a piece of shit. This one is a labor of love, bro. Like, everything in it. You have the case that you put it in. Like, you can charge it through here. Here, I'll actually just show you. This is a fucking $200 controller.
Dang.
The case. Here's the case. There's an alternate D-pad. You can pop out the D-pad and have an alternate D-pad. It's magnetic. You can take the thumbsticks off. There's alternate lengths of thumbsticks.
What?
You can also alter whether it's concave or convex.
It comes with just different thumbsticks?
Mm-hmm. It comes with 6 different thumbsticks.
All right, that's insane. I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't like how PlayStation has concave sticks.
Yeah.
But this one comes with concave or convex ones. It also comes with sticks at different length. Because if you have a taller thumbstick, it takes a larger motion to make a smaller motion in the game, so you're more accurate. The trigger depth is adjustable with 3 different stops on both sides.
What?
Fucking yeah, you can program the paddles on the back. So on Warzone, I jump with this, or I jump with this and I crouch with this.
Oh, those
so I can jump and
buttons,
shoot.
extra buttons in the back there?
Yeah, extra paddles.
Whoa.
It's rechargeable. It has this thing that goes in the case, then you set it on top, and you can charge it like just sitting there wirelessly, or you can even plug there's a port on the back of the case, so you can plug the controller
Just
in
plug the
through
case
it.
in.
Yeah, this thing is a labor of love. There's no seams because the original Elite controller, like my sweat got in the seams and like destroyed it. The grip is amazing. It's just an amazing controller. And PlayStation, I've never been able to get with the controller ever. So
Yeah, I wouldn't even want to be eating Doritos or anything while I was playing with that controller.
yeah, no, dude, I need to
Too
actually
nice.
clean it. It's got Chipotle chip dust all over it.
But are you resigned to getting PS5?
I do want a PS5 because there's now like 3 generations of PlayStation games that PlayStation exclusives I missed out on. I want to play Detroit Become Human. I want to play the last God of War. I heard it was like one take. Have you played that one?
It's excellent. It's one camera shot, of course, unless you die. But it's one camera shot the whole game through.
That's fucking incredible. So I want to play that. I want to play Death Stranding.
It's also
there's a lot of places.
to go back to God of War. It's kind of like Dark Souls inspired.
How so? Difficulty or?
I cranked the difficulty all the way up, but yeah, it just felt like you were trying to like just survive your way through rooms and combat encountered. I mean, you might disagree, but I was getting a very big, what's the game called? It just left my head. I just said it a second ago.
Dark Souls?
Dark Souls, yeah. Dark Souls impression, big time when I played that game.
Dude, Dark Souls changed my life, man.
Tell me what other PlayStation exclusives you want before we get into Dark Souls.
What else is on? Bloodborne.
Definitely.
Never got to play Bloodborne. I said Death Stranding already. I want to go back. I played this, but I want to play all the Metal Gears again, specifically Snake Eater. That game's fucking amazing.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Bro, fuck yes. I would buy the console just for that shit. Yeah, dude. Final Fantasy VII, man. Bro. Man, games have been such an important part of my life. It's kind of crazy to think about. Like, if I get this job, man, it'll be a really big deal. Like, it'll be one of those things where, like, you know, people, like, write a letter to, like, themselves when they're older or whatever. Because sometimes I think, okay, what would, like, the 13-year-old me think of me now? He'd think he was a pretty cool guy. He'd probably be like, dude, you haven't published the book yet? What the fuck? But other than that, he'd think he was a pretty cool guy. But, you know, if I could get this shit, 13-year-old me would be super proud.
It's good to have the approval of your 13-year-old self.
I think so.
And if not, you could always just kick his ass, you know?
What the hell were we talking? Oh, yeah, Final Fantasy VII, man, bro. Do you remember? Did you play the original one?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Fuck yeah. Was it like 6 discs?
It was 3 or 4. I don't think I ever beat it, but I played it endlessly.
It was a huge game.
I used to do that a lot. I'd be like, oh, I really like the beginning of this game, and I just play the beginning like a million times. Like,
dude, when I was a kid, like, I didn't beat games.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm getting at.
Yeah, like, okay, like GTA. Like, as a kid, did anyone ever play the story? No, you just ran around killing people and like, right? Like, I didn't even really realize GTA had a story until like Vice City, you know, or maybe San Andreas.
But that was so toxic to me because I remember like, like my friend Keith, like I would play the story. I'm probably a little older in this example than you were just saying, but I would enjoy the story and role play the character. Like GTA 4, like I really liked Nico's story and everything like that, right? And I've told you before. Nico Bellic, my cousin.
Let's go see some big American titties.
Like I would blow yellow lights, but I would stop at red lights and shit. Like
That's stupid, bro. You're insane.
But I'm a normal guy living in this world. And I'm not trying to be fucking arrested and shot at and stuff. And then my friends would come over, like, let's see who can get the army to come after us. And I just thought, like, man, this is why people are afraid of video games, because y'all murderers.
Yeah, I remember around the time of the DC Sniper, they were trying to say Grand Theft Auto. He used to play Grand Theft Auto and snipe like Grand Theft Auto is gonna make you snipe people or something.
Snipe people.
All we used to do was shoot people. Like before GTA 4, I never did a single mission in a GTA. All I did was slaughter innocent people.
I remember
That's why
in GTA 3, if you would snipe someone in the head, their head would pop. There'd be a geyser of blood coming out of their still standing body.
and then your parents would come in and be like, what are you playing? Yeah, dude. But I don't know, man. Yeah, gaming, like, it's kind of crazy how far it's come. Especially looking at like when they do remakes and stuff. The Final Fantasy VII remake, it's really mind blowing.
I have a crush on all the female protagonists of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I think I like Tifa.
Well, they added, like, there's this one Jessie now who was, like, barely even in the first game. And now she's really cute, too.
Did you see Advent Children?
Yeah, I did, back in the day. I think they're...
That shit was raw, bro.
I think they're remaking it or something.
Why?
They're making
Why does it need to be remade? It's fine.
making it HD now or something? Let me look.
Was it not HD already? I remember that shit looking crispy.
Advent Children.
Bro, I watched Advent Children over and over again. 2005? Damn, I gotta rewatch this shit.
2000.
Sephiroth's, dude, One Winged Angel.
It's getting a 4K HD remaster on June 8th.
That's lit, bro. That's cool. Yeah, I used to watch Advent Children over and over again. Is it canon?
I think so. I think they're releasing like an app that takes the entire Final Fantasy VII story all the way through from like the prequel all the way through to Advent Children that's playable.
What were you saying though that wasn't there something they took out and made like a separate thing? Not Yuffie or what was it?
Oh, well, they're doing the PS5 version. It's called Final Fantasy VII Remake Retrograde or something like that.
Why? What is it?
Some side missions and a side playable character, which would be Yuffie, the ninja girl with the four-sided ninja star thing. You remember?
Why? Yeah, why are they doing that though?
To sell more copies of the same game, to be honest, but to hold people over for whatever 2 or 3 years it takes to make the next installment. And I don't know what the next installment's going to be because you may or may not know, but the first installment was a largely expanded version of the Midgar section, which is only like fucking 3 hours of gameplay from the original game, and they turned it into like a 40-hour RPG. So I don't even know what's going to happen in part 2.
So it's not even the whole thing.
No, it's going to be at least a trilogy.
That's crazy.
But the fact that they took like the first 4 hours and blew it up into a whole game, I don't even know what the rest is going to look like. Are they going to blow through the rest, or are they going to treat that the same way? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, what other exclusives should I play?
PlayStation exclusives. I love the Uncharted games.
You know they're making a movie with what's his face?
Yeah, fucking Spider-Man kid, Tom Holland.
I like him.
He's
been the best Spider-Man so far.
It's getting to the point where he's in everything, but I do like him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I want to see that Chaos Walking movie.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
For some reason, I don't understand how theaters work, man. There's no show times for like half the movies I want to see right now.
Really?
In AMC. Yeah, dude, I'm like scrolling through the AMC app because my dumbass, like, I haven't been using it. They started charging me again now that their theaters are open, but I've only seen one movie every month, which is not, I'm not taking, because in order to get my money's worth, I need to see at least 2. But the movies I want to see, they don't have. Like, I want to see Chaos Walking. Not a single theater near me is showing it.
Really?
So I need to see something else.
That's like a AAA movie, isn't it?
Bro, I don't understand why. Like, I'll show you on here. I want to go see that Voyagers movie. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I'm just trying to watch stuff.
Yeah, I like your approach to movies where you'll go and check something out even if you haven't really heard much about it.
Dude, I saw that movie Fatale. That movie was so bad. I don't know if you can see this, but you probably can't see this.
No, not really.
It says no showtimes for all of it. So
for everything?
No, for Chaos Walking.
So was it like an advanced release or is it like a wide release?
No, it's out. I don't understand. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why it's not showing anywhere around here.
Maybe you shouldn't be paying for that for a couple more months.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I probably shouldn't.
So
I could pause it or cancel it, but
I would do that. So I brought up a list here of the PS4 exclusives you were asking about.
Yeah.
Definitely Uncharted, man. I think Uncharted 4 particularly really good game.
I don't know if I'm into those games, like the Lara Croft, like adventure like quick time games?
It's not quick time. I mean, it's charming and there's like banter between the characters and stuff, but they're like there's all these action set pieces and they're like jumping from planes and they're on moving trains and tanks are chasing them and shit. And it's like silly and ridiculous, but it's really well designed and it's really tight in AAA. It's like one of the pinnacles of modern design, I think.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Then you have the Spider-Man game, which I didn't like, but I think I would like the Miles Morales version of that.
Why didn't you like it?
It was very fucking cornball to me. Like, really cheesy fucking... I mean, they're in high school and everything, but I don't know. I felt like it could have been... Like, I'm someone who likes DC more than Marvel. Not that DC is very good, but just, like, take the subject matter seriously and don't make everything into a fucking joke. You know what I mean?
Did you see Into the Spider-Verse?
I did not.
You should watch that, man. That was a good movie.
Is it?
Yeah, I cried a little bit.
Okay. That's a good metric. Ghost of Tsushima looks amazing.
But I cried a little bit in King Kong too, so I don't know if I'm...
Okay, that ruins your credibility.
I might just be sensitive.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, wait, what was the other game you just said?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah, I want to play that for sure.
I need to play it. That's a must play. But the big one, especially if Uncharted doesn't really do it for you because it's the same developer, the big one is The Last of Us, man. I thought The Last of Us Part 2 was fucking incredible.
I'll check it out.
They did a lot of things with storytelling that I've never seen anyone do before. And I don't want to spoil too much, but like...
You already told me the ends of that game, so...
Oh, did I? Don't remember. Yeah. But just like who you're aligned with, like who you're rooting for and stuff, like they do a lot with that game that you wouldn't expect and you haven't seen before. So
you know a game that you told me to play that I thought was dumb as hell?
What?
Fucking Heavy Rain.
Oh, man, I love Heavy Rain. By the way, that's
Sean!
Detroit Become Human, guys. Sean!
Yeah, Sean! I definitely want to play Detroit, though.
Now, see, that game was janky in like in a weird way, but I don't think it was bad. If you play it through, I think you really would get hooked and invested. But it's definitely janky. I mean, you can't record the line Sean more than once? Like, come on now. Just walking around the mall, pressing X, saying the same line over and over. See, I've showed that game to a lot of people, and we all fucking die laughing at that part. It's embarrassing, but I trust me, that game is worth seeing through. It's a good game.
All right, yo, you need to beat the most recent Red Dead. Like, you gotta play that shit, man.
That's the one game I am playing right now. I said I'm not playing games right now. That's the one thing I am playing. Now,
okay, good.
It's at a snail's pace, but if I sit down to play a game that isn't Warzone, that's the game I'm playing currently.
Nice. Yeah, we've been smoking the ops in Warzone, bro.
Yeah, I was talking to CJ about that a couple of days ago because, you know, he hates shooters and everything like that. And I was like...
He sucks at shooters. People who hate shooters, they hate them because they suck at them because you can't.
But I was asking him what made him want to play with us if he hates it so much, and he just basically said he likes battle royales because of Fortnite and he wanted to play because we wanted to play, and therefore he's playing Warzone with us. But I don't think he ever would have predicted that.
Warzone is the best game that they've ever made in terms of COD, in my opinion, just because like COD is so Twitch, but like in Warzone, the fact that you have armor plates, that totally changes the flow of the game, and in my opinion makes it way better. It makes the gunfights way more interesting. That's why I always prefer Halo to COD, because with Halo you have the shields and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember in Halo 1 you had health?
And you had shields and health.
So, and I don't know how you feel about this, because Halo 2 you only had the regenerating shield. So in Halo 2, if you were to escape a battle by the chin of your teeth and like turn the corner and give yourself a second to rest up, you'd be fully whole. Now in Halo 1, you could chip away at a guy and he might escape, but then your teammate would have an easier bout with him later on. And I kind of think both of those are cool in their own distinct ways, but do you have like a preference between those two?
No, I like the mix. I think the way Warzone does it, which is pretty... I like the way Warzone does it, right? Because in Halo 1, like you said, there was a shield and then there was a health bar, and you could get a health pack and you would have more health, which the shield was a big deal when that game came out. That changed shooters, right? Halo changed a lot of shit for shooters. Even Um, I remember reading a more technical explanation of it, but the way that they calculated like strafing and the way the aim assist works when you're moving to the side, shooters were just, they were different prior to that, you know, where it was almost always just like hit scan, like, so having the shield, those mechanics change shooters. But I like the way Warzone does it, where you have a shield, but you also have regenerating health. So your shield can go down, but you can have a full health bar. I think I really like that. I think it makes the gunfights pretty interesting. I also liked.
I hate when they're tweaking the game and it seems like that week they're not dropping any plates, and then I just feel like anyone can get a lucky shot on me and just take me down because I don't have any fucking health.
Yeah, I mean they always tweak shit. Like I think the helicopters are less sensitive than they were a couple days ago, because like I literally crashed a heli into the ground and like nothing, it didn't blow up or like take any damage or anything.
What?
So for real, like yesterday, me and Kevin got a dub, by the way. We got a crazy dub.
Nice.
But yeah, like Gears is what, regenerating health. I guess it depends on the game, man. Because I really like Gears shooting mechanics, but that game is totally different than anything else. You know, like the sliding and the wall bouncing and shit.
That
like,
truly unique game, Gears.
That game's fucking awesome. I still haven't played 5, so we should probably play that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, Warzone. They really did something good with Warzone.
I love Warzone more than any competitive game I've loved in maybe fucking 10 years. No lie. But I do have gripes about it. Like, stop tweaking little arbitrary random shit. Because I feel like when you're playing, like, let's say Halo or something, a large part of your advantage over someone who hasn't played is just knowledge of the fucking game. Like,
but, yeah.
And if you keep changing shit, like, I don't know. From session to session, I don't want to just randomly learn insignificant little tweaks. Like, if there's a point for doing it, go ahead, I suppose.
Yeah.
But if it's just arbitrary, I just don't get it.
I listen, I feel you. But at the end of the day, man, it's a free game. So they're going to tweak shit. And the people they're competing with, I mean, they're competing with all these fucking Battle Royale games. I mean, do people still play Fortnite? Do kids play Fortnite?
Well, I was talking to CJ about it, and he says he doesn't know. Now he's totally removed from the scene. But you got to imagine, with how popular it was, that people are still playing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the big streamers are still playing it.
Have you heard of Tarkov?
No, I don't know what that is.
There's this game called Escape from Tarkov that I see a lot of people playing. But most of the people I see who are playing it are people who are like in the like the gun community, like. It's some game called Tarkov. I don't know if it's a battle royale or what. You never heard of this?
When you said Escape from Tarkov, it sounded a little more familiar, but still, I don't know what it is.
It says it's a hardcore and realistic online first-person action RPG simulator with MMO features and a story-driven walkthrough. But it's like this multiplayer, like FPS game that's supposed to be like super realistic.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, I see a lot of people playing it.
Is it a
it's like pure PvP.
Computer game?
Yeah, I think so. And it's like super hardcore, apparently.
Oh, I think I might. Is it like a World War II game?
No, it's not a World War II game. It's like modern.
I saw a really realistic looking World War II game.
You're talking about the game I sent you that was called like something from hell or something?
Maybe it was right? like 200 players versus 200 players, and they were like storming like Nazi-controlled villages, and there's tanks and shit. It looked awesome.
That's that game I sent you. I really want to try that shit. What was that game called?
I don't know. I got to look into it, but I'm getting a PC really soon because this is a joke what I'm using right now, and we should get on and try some of these games.
Hell Let Loose. That's the game you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it is. That looks awesome, man.
That game looks fucking awesome. Because I definitely got a PC, like my computer. Sucks.
Yeah, because I've played World War II games, but that looks like it's very like linear in the sense that you're advancing forward through a map, completing goals. You're not just like running around killing people. You know what I mean?
It's 50v50.
That looks cool. Yeah. So you're saying you don't have a computer good enough to play some of these games now?
Nah, I have a my one Mac died, so now I have a fucking MacBook Air. You know, I can't play that shit.
Yeah, I want to get something good, and we should play some games and stream it and shit.
Were you ever into WoW?
Yeah.
I've been super nostalgic for that era, man. Like, I think, like, I wonder what will MMOs look like in the future, because there's like EverQuest, and then there was WoW, and then I would say probably the next huge, not even the next, but like another huge MMO was RuneScape. You remember that shit? Did you play RuneScape?
No, that one looked a little too farty for me at the time.
Dude, RuneScape was
Yeah.
awesome.
Was it?
I can't. Yeah, anyone who's
Tell me
played
about it. Tell me about it.
Bro, first of all, it was like what, 2004 when we were playing that shit. Like I remember playing that shit on like Windows XP, like, and it was free. And I don't know, man. That was just like the first, for a lot of people, like the first MMO. It was free. You had your tutorial, but then it was just like it would just spit you out into the world, and like I can't even explain to you why it was so good. I mean, obviously part of the love I had for it was nostalgia, but it was just so new. It was like you could like it almost felt like you could go anywhere and do anything, and it felt so like robust in like a living world. Like I remember walking out of the tutorial house for the first time and walking into the first town, and people are selling stuff. Like there's like the whole, like there's a game economy, like you can mine shit, and like people would scam you. Like I remember that was the first time I ever got scammed. Like somebody told me they were gonna give me X for Y, and like I give them the shit and he just runs off or whatever. And then there's different zones like with different levels of danger. So you actually felt like you were in danger. Like there's an area called the wilderness where it's just anything goes. And like you'd be like level 10 and like some level 400 would come out and like jump the shit out of you. Like
They could just
I don't know.
gank you.
Yeah, they could just gank you, but it was called the wilderness. So in the wilderness, bro, we should honestly play RuneScape. Like if you've never played RuneScape, it's still out, and I think they still have the classic version of RuneScape too. But something about it is just so charming. It was just like, yeah, dude, the game came out in 2001. I remember playing it in like 2003, like 2004. Just something about it was so charming, man.
So did you play with your friends? Like what were you doing while playing the game?
Yeah, we play together, like with your friends. Just go on quests and like
The dungeons and stuff?
yeah, do the
PvP?
dungeons. Yeah, level up. It was surprising because there was just so much freedom. Like I don't know. For a very low poly like low demanding like browser game, it had a lot of depth to it. I don't know. It was just fun. I have fond memories of that.
Would you go back to one of these classic games? Like WoW Classic is out now. You could play the original WoW.
I don't know about WoW, man. Like WoW turned me off because it was so hardcore. Like what server did you play on?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Okay, I still remember because it was a big deal, right? Like,
Well,
what server are you on?
Well, I
Like,
remember my Final Fantasy 11 server because that was my primary game. So yeah, I know what you mean.
oh yeah. See, bro, that's what's funny is if I had had a better computer, then I would have played Final Fantasy 11.
Well, if
But-
WoW was too hardcore for you, then Final Fantasy 11 would have slapped you in the face.
WoW is hardcore in like a different way though, because the way you talk about Final Fantasy 11 kind of sounds like Dark Souls, where it's like certain shit you just had to like figure out on your own.
Absolutely.
Whereas WoW, it was hardcore because people were taking it too fucking seriously. Like I remember I wanted to join this guild, and they're like, I had to schedule a time for an interview, fill out an application, go through tryouts. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like
It's like a sports team.
like it's a job. Like I already have a job, and then like the 40-man raids that take like 10 hours or whatever, like that is insane.
Yeah, I was never into that. I was never into that appointment gaming, like that 8 p.m. sharp log on. I was never into that shit.
What I like in games, man, is open world PvP. That's any game that can give me that, I like. That's what I get my fix from Red Dead. I like the open world PvP. And WoW, that's what I liked. Like in WoW, like remember how certain towns were like neutral area? I loved that. Like how it'd be like, oh shit, Horde are coming. And like actually I was Horde, so it'd be like, oh shit, Alliance are coming. And then like a bunch of high level Alliance would pull up, and you might have like 10 low levels trying to take out like one guy, or like when the Alliance would like orchestrate an attack on fucking Orgrimmar, and it'd be like hundreds of them, and they're trying to kill Thrall, and like everybody. That shit was really cool. It's like I wonder, like there was RuneScape or not RuneScape. There's EverQuest and WoW and RuneScape. I feel like these were like MMOs that really changed the game. Something's got to come along in the future that revitalizes the MMO genre, right? Because I feel like everything's just been piggybacking off of WoW since WoW, So like, what's it gonna be? I think about that a lot. Like, I'm sure in the future we'll have some VR MMO but I wonder what it's gonna be. I can like barely even imagine it.
Well, I think that's the point, is that we can't imagine it, and that's what it's going to take, something that different. You know what I mean? To not just copy what WoW's doing. But I think WoW's numbers are still pretty respectable. I mean, they just put out another expansion, and as far as I know, Final Fantasy 14 is really doing good numbers, and a lot of people are liking that.
Really? Did you ever play that?
Oh, briefly, very briefly, but
You didn't like it?
it's just that I loved 11, and I was kind of salty that they like started over with a game that became more popular.
It's kind of crazy, like that. There's two games in that IP that are both MMOs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of crazy that any IP gets to fucking 15 games in general.
That's true too, especially when it's called Final Fantasy because he thought it was going to be his last game,
Yeah. He was like,
which is cool.
This is my last shot.
Final Fantasy. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate that Crystal Chronicles isn't better on the phone. But I do have my GameCube now, so if you can find some of those link cables, one day we should actually like play it the way it's meant to be played.
Yeah, can you describe what it was that was so disappointing from your memory to the remake that we played this year?
So you know how like the whole premise of the game is that like you are some youngsters that your family is sending you out to collect the miasma. Not the miasma, to collect the, what is it called? What's the stuff? What's the stuff called? The myrrh? Is that what it is?
The myrrh.
The myrrh, yeah. The myrrh to ward off the miasma.
Which is was it a cute and creative idea?
Right. So when you're playing it with your friends, because it was four of us sitting in a room and during a sleepover, you each have your Game Boy Advance. I still have two Game Boy Advances, by the way. You have this shared screen where you're all playing on the screen with your characters, but your menu is private to you on your little Game Boy. So it's like this nice combination of like working together, but also like a little RPG. The phone game neutralizes all of that because it's almost like it's not persistent, you know? Like if I would play with my friends, like our characters would still be there. They'd level up. Like when you beat the dungeon, you get the letter from your family, you all get to sit around and read it. When I play with you, it's like you get a letter and I just sit there and look at a menu. Then we disconnect. Then I gotta reconnect. I gotta join your lobby. I gotta go back in. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with that game, it's like you would stay in it. You could go from your village to the dungeon, beat the dungeon, kill the boss, do the little post game breakdown, split the loot, then go to a town, run around the town together. Like it felt like you were actually together. Like it's really a role playing game, putting you in those shoes, and like the years go by, like time elapses in that game. You know, the phone game just does away with like all of that. It's more like an arcade thing, like drop in, drop out with sessions.
It spits you back into a menu between everything that you do.
Yeah, so it's just like I don't know. It's just not.
And like you said, it was very much that like I was the host, I was player one, and you were just like the guests in the session.
Yeah, whereas in the real game, you're really like, I don't know. It just worked better the way that it's supposed to be played.
The idea that all of you would be getting messages from home because none of you is like the main character versus you like having to sit there and watch me read.
Literally, I'm just sitting there looking at a menu and it's like, oh, okay.
So you actually had sessions with 4 people total playing on the big screen on a sleepover?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro, because
that's awesome.
Yeah, because that was GameCube gaming era. So we were playing that. We would play GoldenEye. Because when did Crystal Chronicles come out?
Fucking 99 or something.
Crystal Chronicles, so 2003, right? So that was around the same time as Phantasy Star. Phantasy Star, same thing. You know, sitting 4 people on the screen.
Fantasy Star wasn't just like online only?
No, bro. So that's the interesting thing, right? Phantasy Star Online was a Sega game. So it came out, episode 1 came out on Dreamcast, bro. It was a fucking Dreamcast game. But nobody had a Dreamcast. So it was released on GameCube, right? And you could play it online. Did you know that? Did you have a GameCube?
I don't think I did. I might have had one at some point, like later, but no, I never had it while it was.
All right, I'll be right back. Let me show you something.
Okay.
See how janky my lights are? So the GameCube has these ports on the bottom,
Yeah.
and there were accessories you could plug into them. And one of them was a online like thing. I don't even know what it's called, bro. But I know it was like really hard to find. Like in 2003, like nobody ever had one. But you could plug this motherfucker in and you could play this shit online.
The PS2 had
But
something like that. Did you know that?
yeah. But the thing is like I only know of a handful of games you could actually play online. And Phantasy Star was one of them. It's called Phantasy Star Online, but we never played it online because we didn't have that thing. But it had 4-player split screen couch co-op, which was awesome. And what you could also do is, since the GameCube has 2 memory card slots, you could save your character onto a memory card, bring your card over to your friend's house, plug it in, and like play your character, and then take your character home and keep playing it. You could keep like leveling it, you know?
That's awesome.
I was just it was awesome.
So you never played online at any point?
No, I never played, never, ever.
Wow, and it's called Fantasy Star
Actually,
Online.
I did once, but that was in like 2000, maybe 9, and that was when that game was weird because like it was more popular in Japan than it was in the US. So I had like some janky like bootleg like Japanese version because I wanted to play it online, but it was in Japanese. So I didn't get to play it online until like 6 years later, but that was on like PC. But on GameCube, it's called Phantasy Star Online, but we never played it online. We just played it. It's like split screen.
That's funny. Yeah, man. Like I remember on PlayStation 2, you had to like unscrew the back panel and get this big goofy hard drive that like stuck out of the console. It clearly wasn't meant to fit there. And I played like early like Tony Hawk online and shit like that.
Really?
Like
you could play that online?
Early online shit, yeah. And then Final Fantasy 11. The funny thing about Final Fantasy 11 is my friend and his brother, they shared an account on the game. So there was only one PlayStation, but their characters were also bound to that same account, so they could never separate their characters, and they were too invested that either one would not restart. And these motherfuckers had fucking fist fights, literally like yo, you can play till 4, then I'm playing after, like just fighting over the fucking game because they're both addicted to this shit. And oh man, if they had the foresight to have used a different PlayStation, they could have been like a great team together. But it was a fucking battle every day.
That's hilarious. Wait, so what year did you play? Like when did you start playing Final Fantasy 11?
I think I was in 7th or 8th grade.
Right. Okay.
And we saw like a magazine posting, and we were like, an online Final Fantasy game. We didn't really know what it meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Those were the days. Because I remember, because I had 2 copies of Final Fantasy 11, bro. And I think I told you about this, like that's how I even got into like writing fantasy.
Yeah, you told me that story.
Like, because I couldn't the whole play online viewer thing.
Yeah, that's episode 2 of this podcast for anyone who wants to watch that.
Yeah, man, that shit was crazy. Like, just being in the lobbies, but my computer couldn't play it. I just couldn't play it, and so I never did. I had this copy, and I would sit there and I would watch. I would do the. Do you remember? Actually, you played on PlayStation, right?
I played on. They even had an Xbox 360 version, and then at that point, it became the first game that was ever like cross console, Xbox to PlayStation to PC.
So I remember I lived in Georgia when I first, like when I got the PC version. I remember trying to play it on my e-machine, and my computer couldn't run it. And then years later, I moved to Philadelphia, so that must have been like 8th grade. And I got the Xbox version, and that was the first time I played it online. But I don't know I don't know why, but you know what? It was like the learning curve was so high and no one would help me. I didn't know how to do anything that I just never figured it out. Like I had it on 360. So I was like hyped because I could actually play it. But I never did anything, bro. Like I don't even think I left the first town because I would try to talk to people. And I think because you would be in the same server as Japanese people too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and they'd be talking to me in Japanese, and I didn't know
they actually
what was going on.
They had a dictionary that you could use certain pre-translated terms and stuff, like looking for party or would you like to trade? Could we do this dungeon? like preset things that you could say to people. But yeah, that game, it was really hardcore. It was like Dark Souls. Like they just fucking shat you out
Yes,
into
I
the world.
remember.
And
There was no explanation at all of anything. I was just like running around. I didn't know what to do.
and it was cool. I mean, you could talk to the like gate guards and they'd assign you missions, or you could just go and form a group and try to make money or finish quests or level up or whatever. Like I love that fucking game. I don't think the obscurity of what to do could ever really hold up to that degree anymore because of people's attention spans and how much other stuff they could be doing at any given time.
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, everyone would just go online to like figure out what to do anyway. But in that game, was the world instanced or was it truly open world?
Well, you had to zone in. Like you would, there could be a zone that would be like 3 loading screens big. You know what I mean? But when you reach a certain point, you'd have to load into the next screen. Just the limitations of the game, you know?
But was it like, but was it instanced though?
No.
Like, do you
Okay,
know what I mean?
okay. I think I understand your question. Like in WoW, if you completed a certain quest, it would change the nature of the world, and then you couldn't see people in a different phase of the world. Is that what you mean?
Kind of, no. So, okay, best. Did you ever play Guild Wars?
No.
Okay, I was big into Guild Wars. Like after WoW, I got maybe before WoW. I can't remember whether I played WoW or Guild Wars first. Like, okay, in WoW, if I leave Orgrimmar and I go out to the fucking the Badlands or whatever, like I can run into you there because it's just open world, right? Whereas in Guild Wars, the town was open world, so like everyone would be there on that server. But then if you left the town, the area you were in was instanced.
I see
So
what you mean.
only people in your party would like be out in that area.
It was fully open world. Like you had to be on the same server with people, and then if you wanted your friend to join the game, you would have to get like a golden ticket to like because your server was random. So you have to buy a golden ticket to like make sure that they joined onto your server.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was like a big deal. And I was on the Fenrir server. I remember that to this day.
Nice. Yeah, I was on in WoW, I was on Mal'Ganis. And I remember the biggest fucking guild at the time. I wonder if they still exist. Was Goon Squad? I wonder if they still exist because you would see somebody be like, "Oh shit, he's Goon Squad."
What they had their tabard on with the logo.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, they still exist.
That's pretty awesome.
That's crazy. Wow, founded 2007.
Dang. That guild is almost drinking age, man.
That's crazy, man. There's a post from September 23rd, 2020. Is Goon Squad still a thing? What server are they on? Mal'Ganis was one of the, if not the very highest horde populated server at the time. That's why I picked it because it had the most horde. I was hardcore horde, bro. And that I love that shit about WoW too. Just the alliance versus horde rivalry, like just pitting players against each other.
That was a very cool idea. Did you play on the PvP servers?
Fuck yeah! I told you, I love PvP. Like I'm all about the PvP.
It's funny when you're trying to accomplish something and you don't want to be attacked. It's very annoying, but it's really fun when that's what you're there for.
Yeah, when you're ganking somebody else. Oh, I love doing the ganking.
So, Final Fantasy didn't have that sort of.
Yeah, there's no. You had to like go into like an arena, right?
Yeah, it was called Ballista, which was just like it's sort of like in GTA when you're like, oh, let's do a game type instead of just running around on the open world.
Yeah.
And there was guilds who would just run that all day long, just PvP. But it was just really cool how you could decide, like, let's say I'm a samurai. I could decide, do I want to use a great katana or do I want to use a bow and arrow? Do I want to use a sword? And they would all have different types of damage. Like there's piercing damage and slashing damage or there's blunt damage or whatever. And so like that does more damage against certain types of armor, or some of them are better at like interrupting spells, or just there's so many ways to customize a character, and the sub job you pick can complement the main job in certain ways. And so there's so many combinations. I remember me and my friend, we would always try it. He was a Dark Knight and I was a samurai. Actually, I have a picture that I'm gonna put on the timeline of this video. It's one of my favorite pictures ever. But we would fight all the time, and we'd always try to like trick each other by bringing some new wrinkle into the fight. Just do one-on-ones like for hours. That shit was
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you could challenge somebody to like a duel.
No, there was no open world duels. That's something cool about WoW and games like that,
What?
though.
I really like that in WoW. Just watching people duel. Like I would watch fucking like WoW PvP like compilations,
Yeah,
like dark priest build compilation. It'd be like chop suey like over just a compilation of some dude is an 80 level dark priest.
that's almost exactly this video that it's me and my friend fighting each other like 30 times, and his brother's in like POV mode, like filming us, and he edited it to some song.
Do you still have that?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Bro, you got to put that in this episode. I
Yeah.
want to see that for sure.
I'm really nostalgic for that, man.
Yeah, man. There's hella nostalgia for gaming, bro. Like
There's this one time. Did you ever like date girls on the game?
I had a girlfriend in WoW for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely did.
So I had this girl.
I think it was actually a girl too, though. It wasn't like a guy. Like
No,
pretend-
it was confirmed a girl because some of my first like ever video chat, like actually the first pair of boobies I ever saw was from Final Fantasy 11. But
Wait, was this the older girl?
well, it's two different girls. The booby girl was more my age.
Oh, gotcha.
There was one older girl. No boobies were involved. Don't worry, FBI, whoever's listening. But she was like, I was like 16 and she was like 30 or something. She told me she really liked the picture that I had sent her, so it was a little creepy. But
I had an experience like that too.
yeah. So there's one time when at the time level 75 was the max level for years, and that's a really weird number. You're like 75, why 75? And it's because of the sub job system. It could only be half of the level of your main job, so 37 would be the max sub job, right? And it was just balanced that way because there were some abilities, if they didn't want you to have it, they would make it at like level 38, so you could never use that as a sub job ability. So there's a reason why it was balanced like that. But anyway, it would take you motherfucking months, like 6-8 months of like steady play to get a single job up to 75. Like it was like intense, man. And that's if you were playing often, which I was. And I remember I was so close to leveling up, and we had some like end game like raid event or whatever coming up. So my friend logged in for me. He's like, bro, just let me get you these last 2,000 experience points or whatever, right? And apparently my girlfriend at the time in the game was like talking to me while he was me, right? And she felt so deceived, and then she started questioning everything, even though that was the only time he was ever on my character. She started questioning like everything, and she thought I was being,
oh my god,
was being shady or something like that.
Did he tell her like, hey, I'm actually like not him? He didn't tell her?
I don't know. I think he tried to play along for somewhat amount of time, and then at some point he might have revealed it to her, and then she was mad at me after that.
Wait, do you still talk to her? Do you still like know her?
No, I wouldn't have any clue how to. I talked to the other one, the booby one. I'm still Instagram friends with.
Really?
Yeah.
How old is she now? Like 40 something?
No, she was
That's
always,
kinda-
she was always only like 2 years older than me or whatever. But
Oh, got you.
But she's got kids, and she lives in like Arkansas or something like that.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying about gaming. Like, you can actually meet people.
Yeah,
And-
I think I was more open to it on like a text-based game because it wasn't as, intimidating to just talk to strangers who are inevitably older than me, most of them,
Yeah, man. I often find myself craving that feeling of entering a new MMO for the first time. There's no feeling quite like that, like learning the world and like meeting people and like I would like to experience that again. I don't know there's still MMOs out there, but I would like to see something that really does something new,
Yeah, like not knowing what class to select because you don't know, like, oh, this is the most powerful. It's a waste of your time to pick this one or whatever. Like just finding that out for yourself. You know what I mean? Like I hate, like you said, WoW is so hardcore. And a lot of classes, there'll be like 3 skill trees that you can pick from. But there's like an accepted one that everyone uses that you're not like allowed.
The meta.
Yeah, you're not like even allowed to try the other ones. I think that's so lame. Like, I don't care if I'm, 2% better than someone else. Like, I just want to play my way. That's why I always hated that fucking end game raid min max bullshit.
Yeah, I don't like that shit. Meta games and like all that. The Warzone meta now is like, I don't know if you've seen, but more people are running Riot Shield because they'll run Riot Shield Psychov. They put a new pistol in the game. It's these 2 automatic pistols. Shit is insane. It's cancer. Like, it's pure cancer.
I was killed very quickly by them a couple times.
Yeah, so I've been picking them up now and running other people's. I spent like several hours yesterday with Kevin and Brandon trying to unlock them. I've almost unlocked just the single pistol, but it's just like,
So how do you unlock
yeah,
it?
you have to get 4 kills using pistols in 5 different matches. So I've done it in 3 matches now. But then you obviously have to level it up to unlock the akimbo, the laser, the 80 round magazine, and automatic. So you have to just like level the shit out of it, basically.
That's the side of the game that I'm barely even aware exists. You know, like I'm not trying to do any of those challenges or unlock any guns or anything. That's kind of cool that there is that side of it if you are interested.
Yeah, but you still win, and that's the thing is like people will run the meta, the FFAR, AUG, and they'll still lose because like they're just not good. Like, and that's what I like about Warzone is like positioning and creativity of thought can get you really far. It's like it's a fun game to play.
Yeah, I've never strategized the way we strategize for that shit. Like,
I mean, what game ever was there to play like that? Like
seriously.
people don't even play Fortnite like that.
So people are using riot shields now?
I've seen a lot of people who are running those pistols running around with a riot shield.
I hope that's not like the accepted way to play on the forums. That would kind of suck.
I mean, for some reason, people just hate riot shield. They think it's like pussy or something.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think it would ever become popular for that reason.
Yeah, it would never be popular. Like,
we have such an advantage because we're not willing to be like shamed into not using a good weapon.
it's the only thing in the game that stops incoming damage.
Why would you not?
So why
why
would you not use it? Why would you not use it?
It's frustrating, but like I said, I mean, I use that to my advantage. The fact that a lot of the audience wants to think very strongly about a certain thing just means that I can benefit from thinking in a different way. You know what I mean? That's a good thing.
Dude, did you ever hear about that game Huxley?
No, I don't know what that is.
There was this Korean game that was supposed to come out years ago. It never came out. It's called Huxley. It was basically, they were calling it an FPS MMO. It's supposed to be an open world, first person shooter MMO. And it was going to be really interesting because it was like in the future and there's like some race of like genetically altered humans and then some other race, kind of like Horde versus Alliance, but they weren't pitted against each other. But then there was a third race of creatures, like these creatures that like, I don't think they used weapons. But the game, when it came out, you were supposed to be able to play as either of the first 2 races on any console. So like it was going to be cross console. So like PlayStation, PC, and Xbox 360. But then the one race, like the monster race, you were supposed to only be able to play as on Xbox 360, which would have been really interesting if like you forced players of a certain console to play as a specific race.
Yeah, that is a cool idea.
This game never came out.
I'm surprised no one took that idea.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I'm gonna send you a link to it, but it looked really cool. But it like never actually came out.
Yeah, I wish that concept would have taken off. You know what that kind of made me think of?
What?
Is that obviously a huge new genre of game right now is the Battle Royale. But before that, there was a new genre of game that never really took off, which was the asymmetrical game, where it's like one player controls this really powerful monster, and then there's like a squad of 4 people.
Oh
trying to
yeah,
take him down like a 4 versus 1.
I remember that. I played one of the what was that one game called?
Evolve.
Yeah, dude. I remember that game.
Did you play it? Because that's something that I
played
would
it
have.
once. It was
That's something
fun.
that I would have wanted to play, but at the time didn't have the friend group to do it. But
What is that genre called?
it's called
You're right.
asymmetrical multiplayer.
Okay, that never came out. You're right.
It never got big, but did you have enough of an experience with it to talk about it?
I played like. Do you remember that gaming lounge I used to go to in Chicago?
Yeah, that sounds so awesome. I want to go to a gaming lounge.
I played it there. Yeah, it was fun.
So you just went in with some randos?
No, my friends from work. We would all go to this gaming lounge like on the weekends and just. Gaming lounge is fucking awesome, man. You could
That's
get
so
drinks. They had like all the high-end PCs, every console basically. They even have private rooms where you could do like Rock Band and stuff.
Dude, that's fucking amazing. I want to own one of these fucking
I want to
establishments.
own one of those too. Prior to COVID, I want to open one in Atlanta because there's nothing like that. I've never seen anything like that in any other city. And they must have done well because when I was in Chicago, there's one location. They opened the second one by the time I left, and they would be packed. Like every time I went there, it'd be fucking packed.
The same company opened another one.
Yeah, Ignite Gaming Lounge.
Can you take me through the experience of like what's it like going there? How do you pay? Is there like someone serving you food, or like just take me through the experience of being in one of these places?
Yeah, so you go in. If you've never been there before, you register. You connect your email address, and then they take your credit card. Basically, you pre-buy time. So I don't want to misquote you. It was really affordable. I hope they're doing okay with COVID and stuff, because that shit was awesome. So let me see if it has pricing on there. Yeah, it looks like they're still open. That's cool. Did I show you photos of it?
No. Link me some photos. I'll put it on the timeline.
All right, I'll just send you a link to their website. But basically, you would pay for time, right? So let's say it would be like, I want to get 6 hours. I pay like $20. Then you just tell them what you want to play. So I go in with like Essence and Ashley. I'd be like, oh, we want to play Civilization. They'll be like, okay, we'll put you on computers G7 through G10.
So you tell them what game you want to play?
Yeah, you tell them like, oh, we want to I want to play this game on this console or whatever, and they'll boot it up for you. Because they had some setup where like all the PCs were there in front of you, but for the consoles they were all behind the counter, and I guess they just had it wired up to hook up to a TV, so they would just like turn it on for you, you know.
Oh, so
you just go and sit like
hook it onto like whatever monitor, and it's just sitting. Oh, that's cool.
Well, for the console games, like some of my friends, we would go be like, we want to play Smash Brothers. They'd be like, okay, go over here, and it's just an area where it's like, you have a booth in a restaurant. There's like a big couch, big TV. You're sitting there playing, and there's a waitress, and she's like, hey, what can I get you? And they got like finger foods, like chicken fingers, hot dogs, burgers, whatever. And then
so cool
at the one milkshakes, and then at the one location, if it was like after 10 and you're over 21, you could get alcoholic drinks. All the drinks were like game inspired. Like, oh, I want a blue potion. And it'd be like this blue fucking drink, like some cocktail, whatever. It was just awesome, man. You would just sit there and chill, like $20, 6 hours. Like, oh, we want to play Civ. Like, I don't have a high-end gaming computer at home, but I have one at Ignite. So I can just go hop on Civ, log into my Steam account or whatever. We'd all just sit there for like several hours playing Civ. Like, you get a notification, hey, you're almost out of time, or like whatever. Your time would roll over too. So yeah, it was cool, man. It's really awesome. I've never seen it done anywhere. I would really like to open one up, but I'm sure it costs stupid bread. But I should probably just get in touch with the owner and see if I could like franchise or something, man. We should definitely do that.
Dude,
like,
I'm so into that. Do you are you able to resume your progress from a previous session? Like, how does that work?
Well, that I don't know, because I never played like a story game, because like I would play story games at home. I would go there and play like multiplayer games,
Right. So,
but you could, like, they had hella games, like hella games. You can look at their game list on here too.
Yeah, I would like to solve that problem, because obviously it's a very social thing, but I'm sure some people would be interested in playing single player stuff. But I'm also curious, like, do they have to own the game that you want to play? Or is there a situation where like, oh, we don't have that, sorry?
Yeah, they have to own it, like, because I remember my heart was broken. We went to go play Civ one time, and they didn't have it anymore because it just wasn't working. But now that I think about it, man, with the new games consoles, like all your Xbox data is stored on the cloud. So you could just sign into your Xbox, like on their Xbox One, like your account, and then your data would be there. So I'm sure you could do a single player game too, or like their games, like you could just sign into your Steam account, and like find your friends, but they wouldn't let you like install shit because they didn't want people getting like viruses on their computers,
Yeah, that makes sense. But that's awesome, because like I would just want to be in that environment, even if I'm not being social, just like being there. That's such a cool idea, man.
Dude, it was lit, bro. Like, I would go after work, and like the teeny boppers are there, and I'm just watching them play, and they're all playing League of Legends. It's like 12 kids just sitting around playing League of Legends. And like these kids are playing Gears over here, like these kids are playing Smash. It was lit when they released. I think when they released whatever the most recent Smash Brothers was the new one. there was like they had a whole event, like they had a tournament. Like it was so packed, people were standing up. Like it's fucking awesome. So that's why I was saying I hope during COVID, like they didn't take too much of a hit because I think like I mean, obviously gaming gets more popular every year. I think it's starting to be like esports and like even when we were in college was kind of a joke. Like, you know, like MLG, like it's kind of a joke to people, not to us. Or like fucking were you ever into StarCraft?
No, but I know that's huge in like Korea and whatnot.
In Korea, massive. Like they're selling out stadiums. But I see that happening in the future here with like Warzone or like, you know, like in the future people are going to be selling out stadiums to go watch people like game and shit. And
Yeah,
I don't know, having an environment like that's cool.
It sounds like a great business to host parties or tournaments or whatever. That really warms my heart what you were telling me about just now. But
Yeah,
but when
kids
I
would
was,
have birthday parties and stuff.
yeah, when I was younger, they had like non-GameStop game stores, like little mom and pop game stores, and they would have
Yeah.
tournaments in the store. You know what I mean? Just fucking Halo tournaments or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, dude.
So
A lot of those shops don't. I remember my friend's dad owned a video game store. That shit does not exist anymore because, like, why would it? You know?
yeah, I tried to give them my business, but it was a losing battle for sure.
Yeah. There was one game store in Chicago that is still around because they sell like they would have like super rare, like mint condition, like Pokemon Yellow or whatever,
Yeah.
or like a fucking unopened like Sega Genesis and shit. You know, like Sega Genesis is like one of the first consoles I remember playing. Like Sega. What was your first console?
SNES, I think. Yeah.
SNES or NES?
I think it was SNES, and I think my parents.
Yeah, mine was SNES too.
I would have them go to Blockbuster for me, and they'd bring home the wrong cartridges, and they wouldn't.
Dude, do you remember that shit? Fucking Blockbuster, you could rent the fucking games, man.
Yeah, but
Fuck,
they'd bring a game home, and it couldn't fit in the slot because it was for the wrong console, and I was.
Oh my god.
So disappointed. But GameStop, they stopped selling like PS2 era games and before that. So now there is an avenue for like a classic game store to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, man,
the
I still
idea
have
of a gaming lounge is you're selling community and you're selling, time and friendship and all that stuff like that. You're not just selling games.
Yeah, and having a venue too, I think is really cool. But also, we're kind of privileged. Like I could go buy a PS5 right now if I wanted to. Not everyone can afford one, so having a space where someone who wants to try something out. I mean, even like me, like I don't have a high-end gaming PC, but I could go there and I could play like they had the best of the best. I'm talking like the keyboards, everything. And then even this is pre-COVID, but like you'd be like, okay, I'm done. I'm either leaving or hey, I want to play PlayStation instead of the PCs. And they'd be like, okay, they come over, disinfect your headset, wipe down the keyboard, wipe down the controller, wipe down your whole station, like get it ready for somebody else. So it was cool. People treated it with respect too. Like there was never like a controller that was like covered in Cheetos or anything like that. Like it was like people didn't abuse the privilege. And it was like really high end and like clean. If you look at the pictures, you'll see like shit's nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes me really want to experience that. We need to get rich pronto.
Soon, man. Soon, for sure. I think CJ's itching to play Warzone.
Yeah, you want to hop on?
Is he texting us? Yeah, let's do it.
All right, bro. Thank you for talking. And
yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to, do another episode if you want to do something more focused.
For sure. And I definitely want to get all of us on at once as well. That'll be really fun.
Yeah, man.
All right, bro. See you in like 5 minutes, I guess.
All right, dog.
Bye.
Peace.